Hey, Rockin' Larry, Larry Locken One channel at Palladium Express Production / YouTube. I know that's a mouthful, but check it out. James Webb Telescope. The Ancients returning. And Drone-a-Mania still running wild. Stick around, we'll discuss. Got my old chum here from when I was a kid and through high school and life, Mr. David. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna go there with it. David, what is up? James Webb, let's see real quick before you start your flow here. So the James Webb Telescope is kind of a production between NASA and so a couple of foreign companies. I had it right here. I don't even know if I know how to say their name. They were in I think New Guinea is where these people were out of, or France or
Yeah, they
something like
launched
that.
that.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, anyway, it was in December like of 2021 the thing was released, and then it reached its destination by it's so funny when you're on air you can never find your notes even though they're right in front of you. It's like losing your car keys. Yeah, it's like the endless thing that you can never scroll for and find. Thanks guys, I'm glad that the Pleiadians just love fucking with me like this. Yeah, but anyway, okay, so what I didn't realize quite is that how much of an involvement NASA had with getting this thing going, and I wonder if they realized just how much it was going to expose. I don't know. I wonder if they thought that, or now that it's up there, what can they really do, right?
Well, I think it was always to be placed up there for the reason to see it's for an early warning system of approach.
Yeah.
It I mean it is our eye in the sky, Larry. It sees farther and deeper than anything you've ever had before. It has to be kept at a certain temperature because heat. It has heat shields, the size of tennis courts. They folded it up like origami, put it into a rocket, and then they launched it flawlessly up to I guess Lagrange point number 1 or 2. So it sits in the gravitational pull of the moon, the sun, and the Earth. I do believe. I mean, I'm not. I think I have that right, but it sees in the infrared spectrum. It sees farther and deeper than anything we've ever had, and it's been seeing some things, hasn't it, Larry?
Yo, see some things, and when you just said that it was our warning detection, I was almost not thinking of asteroids and comets. I was thinking of like fucking crafts and shit coming here to this planet, like
Well,
other.
yeah, like a craft that is 10 light years away, moving over 1,000,000 miles an hour, that has course correction, that is
Keep
emitting methane and producing infrared light, like something like that.
Yeah, like something like that, exactly right. And you were talking about what the Webb was looking at, what Webb has caught, man. He's caught these. I call them creation manifestation centers, man. I mean, he's caught all these nebulas and shit, dude, and that's what we call these things, nebulas, right? These things create life. These things create constellations, stars, galaxies, and planets. And I think that yeah, but there's nothing they can do about it. It's up there, and I mean, they weaved and they bobbed and they bipped and they bopped, and they're running out of shit to fucking try to hide. I mean, they can't really do it anymore, and they know it. I think.
Where they have a panel of they call them they get it exactly they're called citizen scientists, and NASA is in basically what they've done is they've put the omission onto non bureaucrats. So citizens have discovered something that's quite alarming, especially given our recent issue with these so-called drones that are that never need to be refueled, that can't be photographed, that drop from space into the ocean. Given that, with the emission of this object that's coming towards us, and also, was it Akumahuma? I can't say the word. It's Polynesian for scout. Why would they call that object scout? It's returning too, and it was supposed to be at the local rest, so it shouldn't be able to come back to us like that. I think they're doing everything they can to not say what is happening, while still allowing people to come up with the answer themselves. It is unbelievable what is happening right now, Larry. And James Webb is like what I believe. What I believe is these objects in our sky right now are the precursors prior to the arrival of God. It almost sounds like Nibiru, doesn't it? Or Wormwood.
Kind of like a Nibiru, right? The thing that they Sitchin thought was on a 3,600 year elliptical belt, but Eric von Daniken, writer of Chariots of the Gods, and him are buddies, and he's like, "Nah, man, that thing's a biodome ship if it's anything." Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a biodome ship. If Nibiru exists as a biodome planet, like
It's
the
like the moon,
Pleiadians
bro.
have, yeah, yeah,
It's like
right.
the moon.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the moon. You
Always.
think the moon's a biodome?
Oh, you know it is. It rang like a bell. It has more. Its mass isn't correct. Well, all the impacts or missile attacks, whatever you want to call them, from Earth. All the
Yeah.
craters on the moon are all the same depth because it's in a solid surface. All that regolith is a great shield against solar wind and radiation. It's an insulatory surface. You know what I'm saying? The moon doesn't belong there.
No,
It's the art.
whoa, I agree with that, Dad. Whoa, I almost knocked the camera off you there. Hey, yeah. Did I kick you out of the room?
No, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. Well, dude, I realized that the moon is not supposed to be there, and I realized that it's an artificial thing. I was just thinking about it being a biodome, like I'm thinking about a biodome with cities in it and stuff like that, and
Yeah, that's the
grass
same
and
thing.
trees. Yeah. Well, where are they on the moon then? These cities? You
They're
mean on the other
inside,
side of the moon?
inside of it.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. See, I'm more of a Mars guy. I know that, I really have never given the moon a lot of thought. I like talking about Mars and planets that look like they have atmospheres. And okay, so it's the inner moon.
Yes.
And I've never heard that talked about a lot, the inner moon. I've heard other, inner Earth, things
Yeah.
like that.
You mentioned the word atmospheres to me. That's another strange fact about that object that's moving 1,000,000 miles an hour, that's having course correction. It has an atmosphere, and that's impossible.
Well, by our science standards, yeah.
And then, the whole Anunnaki story, about needing the anatomic, what's it, anatomic gold? Is that right? Did I say that right?
Yeah,
So they could-
that's what they needed it for two different reasons actually. They needed it for their atmosphere supposedly, and then they also would
yeah.
use it as a vitamin. They used it as a vitamin as well. So there was two different reasons they wanted all that gold.
So the atmosphere thing is another facet that makes this object that's coming towards us right now so interesting. It shouldn't have an atmosphere, but it does. How's that? Moving 1,000,000 miles an
Well,
hour.
biodome. I mean, because they bend time and space. I mean, I don't know the. I mean, man, if I knew the reasons, I'd be teaching at Stanford or some shit.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying
The technical.
it's alarming from just the fact that it is. You can't explain away something that's moving 1,000,000 miles an hour
We have no
and
concept.
having
We
an
have no
atmosphere.
concept. Yeah, we have no concept. There are no Earth words to describe it. It's like trying to tell somebody about a color that doesn't exist on Earth that you saw somewhere. You see this color and it has no relevance to any kind of color you've ever seen at all. How in the hell would you describe it? You
Yeah.
couldn't.
And what's up with all the wheels within wheels, just like is described in Ezekiel? A lot, when those objects, those drones are
Yeah,
changing shape, they're
I've
dropping.
seen.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I've seen them. I've seen a lot of ships do what you're saying exactly. Yeah, and it's
Yep.
what those people were seeing when they saw his wheel. Yeah.
Yeah. So that right now there are videos from Jersey. Happens to be from New Jersey because Jersey is the most populated state in the nation. So more people are looking up. They're on every seaboard in the world right now because they come out of the ocean. There
Yeah.
are pictures of what appears to be wheels within wheels, just like the angels
Yeah.
in Ezekiel, and that's intense, brother.
I know it's
Uh,
going to be right. It's in entering our purview. We're entering our awareness, perception of consciousness, and yeah, I mean, they talked about this coming and coming and coming and coming forever, but and yeah, I mean, it's a reality. And what we don't know though is we don't know if it'll die down a little bit for a while, then it'll come back up again. We can only go by what we know in this second that we're in. That we do. I know that in this second you and I are talking right now.
yeah.
And what's going on is going on, but what's going to happen next is we don't know. There's so many different parallel things that could happen, right?
But there's a
But I'll go
calendar, bro.
parallel. Huh?
There's a calendar. It's called Adam's calendar. It's one of the most ancient places on the planet. It's in Africa. It has like a 24 to 26,000 year map, a calendar. What happens every 26,000 years? You know what I mean? Why do they need a calendar for it?
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, a lot of places have things like that, and they're kind of just they're good guides to go by. But I don't think you can exactly go by the number. Like 2012 really was misinterpreted. Basically, 2012 was a halfway point in a 36-year galactical shift. So really, what they were talking about was 2030. And even that can change within a few years. You can't really pin anything down to an exact date because if you did, what do you mean? The world's going to end on a certain day? I mean, look. With that day on 2012, man, I remember it was the day before on the 11th. My son called me from school and said, "Dad, people are acting really weird and threatening to bring guns to school tomorrow." And I'm like, "Kyron, what the hell's going on?" He said,
Yeah.
I thought he was just fucking with me. And I said, it wasn't 2 hours later, the phone rang. It was the superintendent of the schools with an automated message telling everybody to be safe the next day, that there's people running around at school saying their parents are telling them it's the end of the world and
Yeah.
all this shit. And what the hell was going to happen? What they think it was, how was this supposed to end? People are so fucking stupid, dude.
But
Pardon
it
my
was the point.
Well, it's going to
It was
end,
the
man.
point.
So, hey, it's like ringing in New Year's, man. In London, it's the boom, they're gone. Here we come over to the East Coast. It's midnight on the East Coast. Boom, they're gone. Then you go into the center. It's Chicago. Bye bye Chicago. Bye bye Denver. Bye bye Portland. Bye bye Seattle. I mean,
I think it was
yeah,
more. In my opinion, it wasn't supposed to be the end of the world. It was a shift in consciousness. Shadows were bent
totally.
different. Relationships dissolved. You know what I mean? People became
Oh yeah.
estranged.
Oh
It
God,
was.
tell me about it. Really? Yeah, I got divorced that year. Yeah, man.
I got divorced a couple years right after that. You know that, Larry.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you're right, man. But still, I mean, yeah, and it was because of that shit I awoke, and that's why she loved me, man. Because are you ever going to be normal again? What do you mean? And it was over me buying a crystal one day, a crystal necklace. I'm like, yeah, I can't help what happened. Look, I've had these contacts. I can't. What am I going to do? There's nothing I could have done about it, man. I mean, I didn't choose. People talk to me all the time about wanting to have contacts with extraterrestrials, and I'm like, you better be goddamn careful what you wish for, because you better be ready that it's going to be a great thing all around. But man, your shit's going to change, and don't do like I did and go tell everybody about it and expect
yeah,
everybody to see. I was so excited about it, and I had to tell everybody what I was seeing, the beings I had talked to, and and this access I had, and and I didn't ask for it, man. It came out of nowhere on a Friday night with a migraine headache and going to bed early, and my favorite radio station was out that I listened to politics on, and it was just hearing the word Pleiadians on a radio show, and it wasn't even about them. It was about something else, but they mentioned them as a star race, and I heard that word, and it was the weirdest thing. I didn't think anything of it, but yet I was thinking about it. It didn't really resonate with me, but then it did not resonate with me, and I had to sit on that word, and I didn't know what emotion to put it into. And then it was on the next morning. And it was 2 nights later, I had the first contact. Yeah, it was on, man. And I didn't choose to have it happen, man. And the thing is now, though, if you want to have an extraterrestrial contact now and you haven't, or you want to see them, say you just want to see them, dude, and you haven't, there's a fucking problem, dude. They're all over the sky and the
you
clouds
gotta look
everywhere
up.
now. Oh,
It's gotta
God.
look
It's,
up.
you got to look up star. Take your Google Sky Map. If you see something blinking, look at what star it is, and it's usually that star. Some beings from that star system posing as the actual
That's
fixed
wild,
star, and then
Larry.
Procyon. Same with Procyon. They've been doing that.
I told my mom that you said that the other day. I think that was a wild. So what you're saying is when then in order to not change our constellation map, they
Hmm.
populate the place where the star was, but it looks different, dude. They flash reds and whites and blues.
Yep.
Like I've been going
Yep.
out saying, what's going on with these fucking flashing stars, you know? Um,
That's yes,
and then they move a
exactly what
little bit.
happened.
Ding, ding, you know?
That's exactly what happens, man. And exactly, and the way Procyon caught my eye that night, it was where Sirius usually is, but that's not untypical because they're right in the middle between us and Sirius. They're a human race in the seventh dimension, and I was going to channel them that night, but I was going in to do it, and the blink out of the corner of my eye, and I started looking. I got it on video, the whole thing, and then I'm like, I wonder if he'd want to channel me right now, and outside while filming him, and we did. We had a conversation. I've had two with them. Yeah, they're a human race. They haven't been real active until lately again because they had their starseed population dirtied and tainted by another reptilian race that was pissed off at them. They literally flooded their clouds with dirty star seeds that came in there incarnated and fucked everything up. But that's a whole nother story. People can check that out. The channeling I've got with them and watching the ship dance for me, and I've got ones with Pleiadian ships dancing for me, and oh yeah, man. I mean, it's obvious, and beings outside, and I had some creepy ones show up for a few weeks, and the Palladians came, their elementals came, and I wish I gotta find it, see if I got it on camera. But the one Palladian had one of them in a headlock, taking him out of here. It was weird.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
yeah, no shit, man. I know, man. I can't make this shit up, but if I could, I'd be a good writer. And sometimes I'll get in channel mode and have a whole book come through me, a history, and I'm like, God, I wish I could
Yeah,
do that all the time. I'd send in manuscripts, and then I
yeah,
forget about the whole thing. But yeah, you got the thing is, man, and it's intense. And I would say people be ready because even when you meet a higher dimensional extraterrestrial, the vibration is so high, and
yeah.
it can be a lot, man. It really can be a lot. And
Paralyzing.
I tell people, just remember one thing: go for it, but remember one thing: you will never, ever, ever be the same again. your life will never ever, and it'll be in subtle ways. It isn't going to be like you'll come home and you're going to look like a goddamn robot or something. People go, "What happened to you?" No, it'll be something really
You'll be ostracized, dude.
yeah, because they don't understand. Although there's less of that now.
Here's a fun fact, Larry. It don't matter anymore because it's going to have physical manifestation. It does right now in our skies. You can't deny it when it's flying right above
No.
your head. You can't deny it when it's when there's. I seen 2 moons during the last eclipse, man. What about that?
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Yeah, no, I would just say what you want to touch on what you just said there right now. The time is ripe, right? The time is ripe to be awakening right now and have some contacts because they're there and people can't ridicule them. It won't be long before they will be ridiculed for ridiculing you. And a lot of people that were fucking with me 10 years ago about this shit and 12, 13 years ago, they know now. They're either they say nothing or they know. And what can they say and what can they do? And I used to remember like I'd get angry and I'd be like, yeah, well, fuck, they'll see. But I'm not about that now. I'm there to help them and answer any question they got. It's just sometimes I'm hearing these questions and I'm like, where the hell were you people 13 years ago, 14 years ago? I mean, you're trying to be what I was then. I mean,
I've been talking about these objects in our coastal skies for the last year and a half with everybody around here. My mom, my wife. I'm like, listen, come out here. There's one flying over our house right now. I can't pull them off the television. They think I'm a fruit for seeing them. I have been these things that they've seen. They called the quote unquote the New Jersey drones. I've been seeing them above our skies last year and a half, dude. Every
me
night.
too. 14 years here, but for me, man, 14 years for me, I've been seeing them, and yeah, dude, right, but
94 is
you're
the first
thinking
time
you're
I've
a
seen them.
fruitcake. Oh God, thinking you're nuts. You're a fruitcake. I know, dude, but I've been the same way. Hey, come on, you got to see it. Come on now, you got to go. Oh yeah, dude, I was too overzealous, and it just freaked everybody
Yeah.
out because it's a lot to take in. And what I don't understand, David, I said this on the last show, but what I don't understand for the life of me, why would it even? I mean, why would there not be a ton of human races that look like us right around us in planets? I mean, Jesus Christ, that'd be like you and me going, there's this town, people, if you don't know, Coke Hill, it's about 20 miles from where him and I grew up. I'm using it as an example, but it would have been like me going to David and going, oh my God, goddamn, dude, there's people that live in Coke Hill that look like us.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I mean, wow, I'm so surprised.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, what I don't get why is it the scare thing? Do you think that you and I talked about this before we went on air about them eating? Hey, we hope they're not here to eat us, right? Is it that
Yeah.
scare, that little bit of fear flight, that little reptilian fear in us or that caution? Not the reptilian in somebody like me or you, we don't have any of that DNA. But I mean, that light warrior fear because we fought them for so many lifetimes. Is it that, because there's some shiesty motherfuckers, those Orion bastards, I'm telling you. They tried to make it up to me. I don't want to. I'm not ready yet.
I'm just amazed about what's happening right now. I just cannot.
Yeah.
I'm amazed. Amazed. Where we're from, we've seen things our entire lives.
Yeah.
It isn't beneath the ground here. We know that.
Oh yeah, it's in Lemuria. Yeah, we're in a hotbed, dude, and there's something weird about where we're from. Weird, and
I mean,
people can say that about everywhere, but not like this. It's on so many levels.
yeah, it's unbelievable, dude. And I feel valid. I feel validated because I've been trying to, I can't pull off a family member off the television to go look up in the skies. It's flying over the house. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is that? That might be by design.
Yeah, people still watch TV though. I mean, I just can't see. I don't resonate with that world anymore. It's hard. It's like I'm watching something from another planet when I see like the news, and I'm not slamming the news or a show or anything, right? But
I
they're
got
talking, they're talking, and I almost don't. They're speaking English, but I almost don't understand. It's like no comprende. It's a riddle, dude.
they peddle an opiate called tragedy, and this is what I believe.
Mhm.
I believe the emotional response is produced by watching constant tragedy on television is fed on by us. It's like giving a cow hay. Something eats the emotional response to tragedy in us. It feeds something in a lower or higher dimension. I don't know. Remember,
Yeah, they're called the archons. Yeah, it's these beings called the archons. They're lower vibing beings, and they feed off of our emotion and their sadness. I heard a guy on LSD one time actually describe seeing them, and I can believe it, man. Like kind of sucking the energy out of you, above you, like sucking your emotions out of you, and getting off on your like feeding off of you
creating
being.
dysfunction. Abuse and dysfunction is their favorite flavor. And what do these archons look like, by the way? Do we know?
Oh, dude, there's some weird, creepy, interdimensional shit. I could kind of draw one for you. I'll have to look at. They look like these little. Jesus Christ, David, you would put me on the spot, man. It's like trying to describe something from another dimension to people that doesn't make any sense. They are these weird looking, ghouly kind of. Oh God, dude, I wouldn't even. Why don't you ask me a trigonometry question? I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
wouldn't know. I really wouldn't know how to describe these motherfuckers. I can see them in my head as clear as day,
yeah.
and yet, oh man, they're ugly. They're definitely not Mr. America. They wouldn't win a Mr. America competition. I'll tell you that. They look like a cross between. You ever seen the Ferengis on Star Trek years
Yep,
ago?
yep, yep,
Those
yep.
gross motherfuckers. It would be like one of them, brown, but their ears are a little floppier, and their face is kind of like half their face is kind of sloped from the other side of the face, and their nose is
Oh,
kind of yeah. Now you're getting me into describing them. Yeah, that's kind of what they look like, dude. And yeah, I mean that I've seen in drawings and shit, and it's kind of like how it was explained to me what they look like. Of course, I didn't want to know when the guy was telling me. I'm like, I really don't want to hear this
yeah.
shit. I know it and I'm aware of it, but I really don't want to go down that rabbit hole with them. Yeah, because
I
it's
was just,
it's
I said it.
scary.
Yeah, I just thought about something about you, Larry.
Yeah,
We were probably like 11 years old, 12 years old, 11 maybe 10, and without knowing yet you're going to be such a medium and such a clairvoyant, you bore witness to the parasite that was on me. Remember?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
That
haven't
was
thought
very
about
early
that
on, Larry.
forever. Yeah, that
I cast that thing off myself, and that's when I lost everything, dude.
really,
I became so furious that it was over my wife while it was feeding on me. I opened my eyes up, and it was inches from my face, and I threw myself out. It broke its tie on me. I was like 36 years old or 42 years old. Excuse me. When I finally broke that thing off of me.
really,
Yes.
that wow. It is okay. Oh
And
wow,
it
man.
corrupted everything in my life, dude. I lost my family. I lost my pets died. I lost my band. I lost everything, dude. It tore everything away from me. It says the ancient Sumerian scriptures. We can call it Old Testament if you want to, but it's really Sumerian. Uh, it says that if you cast an unclean spirit from your home, it will return with seven worse than the next. If you don't have your house in order, and that's what happened to me,
Yeah.
brother.
And that thing, all those years, okay, so that thing stood with you. That thing was like an art. So basically, you had an Archon, for better or for worse, stuck to you all those years, dude, and it fed off your misery, man. It must have had a fucking one hell of a time feeding off of that. Because, yeah, dude, I knew there was something like with me, dude, I knew there was something off about you that you just couldn't shake. I'm like, what? God, David's just a millimeter from putting it all together. And what the fuck is, dude? Okay, and that's what happened. And now you seem a lot more stable since then. This all makes a lot of sense, believe me, bro.
Well, I mean, I have the benefit of I had a death experience of 17 minutes,
Yeah,
and stood in the presence of God, and I seen an expanse to the right and left of me, all of these gaunt, like 16-foot tall, skeletonized entities with eyes as white as snow, his pupils as blue can be, furious at me. And
yeah.
when I came back to this level, they were cast off of me. That's also helps out. It
Is
was
that
like being
when you were in
washed.
the Is that when you're in the hospital almost died? Mr. X, everybody who I used to do shows with, Mr. X, I can't say his real name, but David might know. No, David knows who he is very well.
Yeah.
But Mr. X was telling me, yeah, you were in the hospital and shit, dude, and dying. Was that
Well,
true
yeah,
when this happened?
yeah. It was. I was depressed and got caught up on something that kills you real quick. But the good news is, I only got to die once. I was done with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard you had an. Well, I'm putting you on the spot. I heard, yeah, hey man, I heard you got an NDE. Is that true?
What's that?
A near death experience, like you saw
Oh, no,
some shit, right?
I did not have a near death experience. I was dead for 17 minutes.
Well, yeah, that's what they call. Okay, that's what they do call an NDE, though. But yeah, so okay, that's when you experienced all this stuff, right?
Yeah, I was able to. I got caught in the in between place between the mechanics of what is uh, this perception of reality slid to the side. I was gifted with the uh, with being able to see and have complete lucid movement in the place that is the in between places. You know what I mean? The place. I
Yeah,
don't know if it was inside of me or if it was outside of me. I don't know. I mean, I can't explain entirely what it was, but I know I remember exactly what it was. You know what I'm saying? I remember. I was I was in the presence. I was in the presence of what, for lack of a better word, God, and that doesn't do it justice. That word.
Okay, what I've been told about these. Okay, and I want to see if this resonates at all. You know what I was told by this guy Robert Morningsky? He was really popular for a while. He said that, well, if you ever have that happen and you have this option of walking towards the light, he said, don't do it. Go turn around and go walk out to the stars in the dark. Go take your place among the stars. Don't walk back into the constant reincarnation cycle of that light. That light is false. They'll even show you family members that have gone, and don't trust it. Don't go to it. Turn around and walk towards the dark. What do you think of that fucking, if you were told that? What do you think of that, man? That certainly.
I think I would go with whatever my gut told me when I was there.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. See, exactly. Exactly. I'd have to wait till I was in the moment, man, and I'd have to trust my
I didn't
intuition.
see any of that,
And
bro.
I just
I didn't see. I went to the place that is in between. Like there was no light. It was I came to in a open, vast uh open area, and in front of me, about a mile in front of me, was a granite mountain without any vegetation that shot like the very top of the mountain shot straight up into these churning gray clouds. All above my head were clouds that were churning and churning, like churning. And in front of me, there was a path that was cleared, and on each side of me there was an ocean of tangled 16-foot creatures that were skin as black can be because void of light. And they were all with like gnarled hands reaching towards this mountain that was in front of me, and but all their heads were averted. They would not, like, their heads were all twisted so their eyes could not see it. And that mountain shot up into them clouds at the very top. I could not see the top of the mountain, but from that emanated a sound that I knew permeated and kept order to all realities. And I knew I was in the presence of God. Um, I walked down towards the mountain, and I caught the eyes of one of those things as I walked by, and it was so enraged. It had tears in its eyes. It was so angry. They were frozen. They were frozen. They couldn't move, but their eyes were wide open, and it was fucking furious at me. And as I walked closer to this mountain, the entities were cast down on their bellies, and they were supine with their hands outreached, smashed onto the ground. But and at the foot of that mountain was a flat like a level a flat area, like a table or something. You know what I mean? And on that was a, for lack of better words, it was a gate, and it had a symmetry that I cannot even explain. But I see it. We depict this gate at the foot of this mountain that emanates this vibration. We depict it all over in our art. We don't even realize that as human beings, we are drawing what is the gate that is, I don't know what it is, but we draw it and we depict it in our art everywhere. We don't even know it.
Symbolism. Yeah, lots of
And
symbolism, man.
I didn't touch
Everywhere.
it. I didn't dare touch it, and I couldn't see it either, Larry. Larry, it was an opaque gray color because I was not meant to see it. But I could see it. I could see it in the sense I could see
Mhm.
its symmetry and its shape, and it was
Right.
freestanding. Okay, like it was in the it was I remember climbing up onto the, it was a ledge. I climbing up onto it, and I didn't dare touch it. And I looked on each side of it. It was thin and freestanding like a monolith at the foot of the mountain,
Okay.
that bit up into this clouds, and on top of it came like a sound, like a something like that, and I knew that was the presence of God, dude. So yeah,
Wow.
and
Well, and it must be frustrating. It must be hard to kind of, to describe shit because I'm not really good at articulating. I wish I was, man. It'd probably be the difference between me being a half-ass at doing this and great. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to describe things like that when you go through an experience. I have trouble putting into words something that I've never seen before, and that I can't reference it to anything I've ever dealt with on Earth, like seeing some of these not extraterrestrials, but interdimensionals. It's really hard for me to even come up with. And I've even talked to people that were really great articulators, and the best they can do sometimes with this shit is like make a little reference to something that it kind of looked like on one part of it, but it's really hard to describe it. It's like I said, seeing a color that doesn't have any kind of earth base to it. There's nothing you could point to of any of the primary colors or anything that it even looks like it could be an offshot of. That would be a real trip, man.
yeah, I painted it and drawn it. It's
Okay.
profound, Larry. It was a gift to me.
You have? Okay, I haven't seen it. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a look at it so maybe I can get a like an idea of it. It might help me a little bit to see. I can't. You're a good drawer. I can't draw worth a shit, so it's hard. And I really can't, man. That's why I had to learn to type at a young age because my handwriting. I mean, it's the
I
second
can't
worst
write
I've ever
it.
seen.
They are the quintessential like, described as the Nephilim. They look like Nephilim to me.
Okay. The Nephilim. Yep. Okay. They think Anunnaki, same kind of thing.
Yeah. It was
Same kind
intense.
of controllers.
They were furious at me. They like an ocean around that mountain. Their bodies were tangled. Um, and I truly
Yeah.
believe they were unclean. They were unclean spirits on me. Like they were like
I can
parasites.
vision what you're seeing. Yeah, exactly. I can vision what you're seeing there. The tangledness. Yeah. They're lower vibrating. They're nobody I'd want to deal with, if that's what you mean. They're not somebody I'd want to. I don't worship. First of all, there's nobody that I would worship to begin with. I don't care who they are. Somebody worthy of being worshipped, they wouldn't want me to worship them. So, but I mean, those guys are scumbags to me, as far as I'm concerned in the cosmos.
But when I came back when I was gifted with life again,
Yeah, well, yeah, you
they were
were,
no
yeah.
longer on me. I was cleansed of them.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's what happened. Exactly. You had those motherfuckers removed, and and there's some shisty motherfuckers. Let's just put it simply, man.
They're ancient, dude.
They're
They've never been alive. They have never been alive. That's
not.
it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, you want to expand on that at all?
I'm just they are parasitic. They are not they are parasitic. They are arrogant and they are angry. They are
Yeah. Yep.
they're angry at creation.
Yeah, creation did
The
not create them. Creation did not create the dark at all. The dark happened because it was a oversight. Light got spread too thin, and it just couldn't hold up anymore. And people forgot to spiral it like the sun does. The central sun of Alcyone from the Pleiades, it takes care of our sun and seven suns. Others by spiraling the love, spiraling the light to it. And we forgot to spiral it, so it created all these physical densities and all these leeches and parasites and shit the dark did.
yeah
And once you
yeah
raise out of higher vibrations, those things are gone. So original creation did not create the dark. It was an oversight that created it, and now we're stuck with it. So people will say, "Oh, well, you learn a big lesson with duality. Boy, we're here to learn that duality." Oh, fuck, I already know that shit. That'd be like telling a kid, say you got a spoiled kid who never appreciates anything. You get him gift after gift after gift, and he whines and complains. You might think to yourself, God, I wish that kid would learn a lesson so he would appreciate what he got. Okay, fine. But then you get a kid who's joyful and appreciates everything. Yeah, you're still going to be like, oh, I want him to learn. No, we got to put some obstacles in his way. I want him to learn how to. Yeah, some obstacles, but not this kind of shit of darkness and learning. But what are we going to do now? We've got it, so we got to kind of have that attitude with it. Like, okay, it's a good lesson learner, and maybe it is for people that aren't as evolved in the mind as you and I and others. Maybe it's a good lesson for them to learn. But I must have learned it a long billions of years ago because I don't vibe with it or anything like that.
You never have.
That
You never have, Larry. You never have. Uh,
yeah,
I almost wonder. I mean, just if I might just go off on a tangent here.
yeah,
I almost wonder if these because I asked you about what are those archons. That's I was leading you to
yeah.
this part. Um, I I almost wonder if these entity or whatever, for lack of a better word, if they are not a manifestation of rot because of us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they exist because of our own uh, inadequacies, and like we
Yep.
manifested them. Now they feed on us. Like I don't believe
Mhm.
in ghosts, Larry. I believe like when somebody passes away, and if there's enough of energy in that passing, it leaves a little rotten spot, like a knot in a tree, and that rotten spot is occupied like a hermit crab occupies something else's shell. That's what I believe ghosts are. You know what I mean? And
No, that's a good way to put it. Well, yeah, you're right. That's exactly. There's other definitions and ways to put it, but you're exactly right. That's what it is, man. It's a manifestation of our inadequacies and our thinking of shortcomings and
well,
and misguided
murder,
thought.
rape,
Yeah,
abuse. It creates these things, and
sure.
we have the power to speak things, to manifest things into existence. We have the power to think things into reality.
Mhm.
That means we also have the ability to think things into reality, and as a group consensus that we might be the creators of these things ourselves, humans. You know what I mean?
Oh, well, of course we are either by our negligence or our manifestations. Of course, that's what I'm saying. We created that, with the not spreading the light enough, being complacent. We manifested that stuff, and sometimes your thoughts are are not yours. Like as far as violence goes, this is weird. The only thing that used to get me violent thinking, it was when I was a really big football fan when I was a kid, as young as 6, 7 years old. And dude, I would
Yeah.
sit there, David. I would sit there, and I never did this to other people, but I'd be like, the referee would make a call against my team, and I'd be like, God damn it! I hope that motherfucker dies. I hope he's cut up, chopped up, and used for fish bait and fertilizer. And I said, and I hope I hope the 49ers team blows it, or their plane blows up on the way back to San Francisco. My mom, I used to scare her because it was the only time I was a good boy. It was the only time I'd get violent was pacing and watching football. And I'd be like,
How old were you?
oh, I did this shit from the time I was probably, I watched it since I was 6, but 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And, and even later after that a little bit. But,
It must have,
oh,
it must have been,
I'd get downright nasty and say
that's
shit
probably
I
because
never
it's
did.
all that. It's all that breakdancing you were doing, is what it was, Larry.
Yeah, well, man, Mr. Dancer, man. I couldn't do it, dude, but I'd like to wear the clothes. But man, X could get down and do the Tootsie Roll and the electric boogaloo. And
Yeah, I
man,
remember walking by. I remember walking by the hallway. You bring cardboard to school and shit. You were ready for it,
yeah,
bro.
yeah, I was ready for it. In 1984, yeah, thank God it's in the past. Yeah, man, I know, but and I would say shit like that wasn't me, man. Like I hope they get chopped up and used for fish bait and fertilizer. The referees, that was a bad call. How could they do
Yeah.
that? Yeah, man, I don't know, man. Must have been the archons coming through me one time. The only weird thing I ever had happen that was really scary, Dave. You want to talk about people being scared? I mean, people talk about being scared, and I've been scared before, so have you. But let me tell you, motherfucker, I've been only scared one motherfucking time for real. I was about 9 years old. It was November of 1984. I was laying down in my bed. My mom was asleep, probably in her room. Yes, she was. I'll tell you why. I'll know that in a second. I looked out in the hallway,
Yes.
and this thing that was about 7 foot tall,
That's the thing
and
that's on me, bro. I'm
it was
like,
a black, the man with a black hat walked by, and I never could get anybody. I would ask people for the next
Larry,
25 years. They'd say,
Larry,
"Who have you seen this guy before?
I
Have you
came
ever
to
heard
your
of him?"
house,
No.
remember? That was the thing that was on me, bro. Remember, I came to your house. We were talking about it. The next night is when you seen that shit, bro.
Yeah, yeah, you were over there. Yeah, you were, man.
That was the thing that you were clairvoyant. You didn't realize it at that point. You know what I mean? You seen the thing that was on me.
Yeah, I freaked out and ran up the hallway, and my mom was screaming in her room. Dude, I was scared. I remember that feeling. Even though I've been shot
Hey,
at and shit, I've never been that scared in my
Larry,
fucking life, dude.
from 4 years, from 3 years old to fucking 43 years old, I seen that thing almost every other night, dude.
Oh God, dude. I see. I wish we would have talked about it because David, I couldn't get anybody. Nobody had heard of it. Even people that had
Well, I didn't
nightmares
know
all
it was.
the
I
time.
didn't know. I didn't
Well,
know
I
until
know, but
the next day after I casted off myself. I went online and I discovered it was a worldwide phenomenon. I'll tell you something right now. It's not a hat, Larry. Those are horns, and those horns they're horns. It is not a hat.
it looked like a brimmed hat to me, and I
It's
had
not
never.
the. It's
Well,
a mimic, dude.
this is how I found out about who the motherfucker was. I started doing radio on N5D, which is huge, man. It was big then. Greg just really doesn't like to mess with it much anymore, Greg Prescott. But we were talking one day, and Greg was showing me the sheet of all kinds of entities that were dark and shit like
Yeah.
that. And this
Blew
guy,
my
this guy,
mind away, bro.
then he gets down to the man with the hat, and he points at this guy, and I'm like,
I
oh
don't
my
like
fucking
saying anything,
God,
bro. I don't like saying. Just don't even say it. Just say that thing, okay?
that
I had
thing.
no idea, Larry, until it cast it off of me. I went online, and you know what? It you know what? It spoke to me, Larry. Listen to me. I became aware of it being over me, which meant it was over my wife. I became so fucking furious that I opened my eyes and it was inches from my face, dude. I looked. I seen how it was feeding on me. It said to me, "You can't do this to me. I own you." And I fucking threw myself at it and I broke its tie with me. And then it came with 7 worse than the next and destroyed my entire life, Larry.
Yeah. Well, then I'll tell you what, man. I had a similar experience when the night before I had or 2 nights before I had my awakening with the extraterrestrials, the good ones. Dude, I was in a REM state, but my wife was asleep at the time, and there was these 6 of these reptile-looking guys with laser guns standing around the bed, and I'm like, I could hear them talking in some weird, creepy electronic
Yeah.
Sumerian weird voice, and I just jumped up out of bed and said, "Get the fuck out of here! Get out of here now!"
Yeah.
And dude, they did, but when I was younger, I would have been like, fuck, I would have been scared shitless.
Yep.
And then I knew what it was like. It was like people describe about sleep paralysis. I
Yep.
was
Yep.
like
That's
in
not
that
what it
mode.
is. It's them feeding on you, dude, and you
Yeah.
can't move like a spider biting you.
But I was able to. Was the weird thing. I was able to jump up with one last burst, and they got out of here. And
That's what I did,
she,
dude.
yeah, and
It's a
she started
spiritual
having
ability,
nightmares.
bro.
Yeah, and she started having nightmares about it, man, about all that shit, dude. And I
My
was,
wife seen it too, dude. My wife
yeah.
at the time, she's seen the shadow entities because I didn't just have one. There was a legion of them, dude.
Yeah.
Okay, but the one main one, it was terrifying to me, Larry. It caused me so much trouble in my life, dude. And then to find out it's a worldwide phenomenon, I woke up inches from its. It doesn't have a face, dude. It is made of. It looked like soot and wool.
Okay.
It was just like it's a mimic, dude. It doesn't even wear a hat, dude. That thing that those horns are side. It's a sideways horns, dude. Its horns are side. It's a form of like it's like a receiver transmitter thing.
Okay.
It is It's like it is not a man. It was bent over my bed, halfway up at its shins. Okay, it was bent over
Mhm.
my bed. It was over my wife at its shins, dude. I came to, and it was inches from my face. Its face, where its face is supposed to be. If a scarecrow has a face,
Yeah, you
I
know
don't know.
what? Well, you want to go there then with where we grew up, dude? That area is scary. That whole your road, my road, that whole little corridor right
Yeah,
there. Yeah, 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 dude. There's something about it, ain't there, bro?
yeah, yeah. It's amazing, dude. Um,
It's people would be scared shitless to walk some of it at night. And I mean, I'm a grown man, and I've talked to black, but like Kavika and shit, 5th degree black belt, Jay and shit, dude. They were scared to walk parts of that shit, dude,
oh
at
my
night.
god, dude.
Yeah, no
Always fucking
shit.
following us.
Kavika
Always fucking
scared,
following us.
right?
And also, what's
But
another thing, Larry? Why were there so many like Ouija boards in our junior high? Like, why? I remember once I'm walking down the hallways. There, every 5 feet, there were kids doing Ouija boards.
or Dungeons and Dragons. That's how Greg got all fucked off, dude. Was starting to hang out with those weirdos that were playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they were just kind of kids that were nerdy. But, dude, yeah, I mean, and that shit's whatever. It's like I'm like whatever with it, but why would you want to borrow that kind of trouble? You know what I mean? I'm not saying be
Dude,
scared of that shit, but why would you want to go and fuck around with
as
it
a
all the
kid,
time and
dude, I
borrow?
remember it got so intense that we would draw them on pieces of paper, and that thing I could zing that thing around just by myself, dude.
Yeah. Well, it'd be like going in the bathroom with the light off, and then going Candyman 3 times in
Yeah,
the mirror.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
fine. Ha, ha, ha. But why would you want to borrow that kind of trouble, though?
Yeah, well,
You're feeding into a dark energy. Even though you think you're going to
yeah,
be a tough guy and get through it, why would you want to put yourself out there? Because you want to fuck around, dude. There'll be shit fucking waiting for you if you really want to go
yeah,
down that rabbit hole, man. It's like, look, man,
yeah.
I only messed with a Ouija board one time. A buddy of mine had one. I was 21, and he said, "Hey, man, this will answer questions for you." And we both put our hands on it together. I went along with him, and then, dude, he started, and I could feel he was moving it with his hand. I said, "Dude, fuck this shit." And
Yeah, it looks
maybe
like
now that I look
100%,
back
dude.
on it, maybe it was. He told me that it really wasn't him moving his hand, but I just didn't even want to
This
go
is.
there with it. I was
I could
like,
put my hand. I could put my hand on that, and it would
yeah,
zing around. I had that thing on me at that time. You know what I mean? Here's another trip,
okay,
Larry. Having that near death experience, and then having that entity attached to me for like 30 something years, 35 years or something, 37 years, 40 years, whatever it was.
yeah,
It's changed me, dude. I'm forever changed. Like my percent, it's changed me. That's all I can say. Like I'm
yeah.
free of it now, but my perception of reality is completely different, dude.
Yeah, it slowed you down into about 6th gear. Yeah.
Yes, I know we're supposed to talk about the UAPs and James Webb, and I just got you distracted. I apologize.
No, that's okay. James Webb, the Nebulas, we know what he's seen and everything. Yeah, go ahead. What you got to say about those UAPs, man? I mean, what
Uh,
can you say?
well,
What you got to say?
well, it's well now they are quite alarmed because they're calling them shape shifting. Like they got videos of them changing shape and like
They,
shape shifting
yeah,
drones. But
they're
what
just
I believe
dimensional
is,
moving.
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
They're just dimensional moving, like we talked about. Shape shifting is nothing but moving in and out of dimensions and watching shit out. They're active in a few different dimensions at once. Who knows how many? Some a bunch, some a little. A whole lot of this, whole little bit of that.
I
It's
think it's
all in the name of
mechanics.
the game of, huh?
It's mechanical. Like I think that
Some of it.
that things are the periodic table, what is unstable here becomes stable as you drop down, and I call them membranes.
Yeah.
I call them membranes dimensional. You get different potentials for the periodic table as you go up and down dimensions. And what they're
Yeah.
doing is they're pulling the pieces out of dimensions and pulling them into this dimension. So it looks
Yeah.
like they're shape shifting, but they're not. They're just simply turning. They're mechanically turning. They're
Interesting.
they're like a Swiss Army knife. You know what I mean? They can pull out different things.
Exactly. Yep.
That's
Yep, they get more the lower they go, the higher the density is, the lower they get, the more physical, the more mechanical shit becomes, right? The more
yep,
higher up the dimensions you get, it gets lighter and lighter and lighter, and yeah,
yep.
you know, and so it goes. But when you're operating out of multi dimensions, and I've got film and shit like that, man, and it's moving out of dimensions, is what you're seeing. You're right, but what you're saying is exactly an offshot of that. It's true. It's more mechanical the lower you get, and it's more stable. But then it's a little bit more free flowing as you go up. It's like with
yep.
plasma, it's just water held together. You know, whole lot of water, a little bit of solidity with it, man. And the cosmos is made out of plasma, man. I mean, the whole creation is plasma.
Well,
Um,
it's why they can sit in the sky and they're impervious to wind. They can just sit up there indefinitely because they are able to because the weight or the friction causing or the surface area that could be affected by the wind, it is just below the surface, man. Like I seen this video, I think I showed it to you, of what looks like fire rings in succession, which
mhm,
basically look like a rock skipping across the surface of a lake. And what I surmise is that the mechanical part of that craft is dipping below our membrane and popping back up. That's how they move from point A to point Z across the cosmos. They dip and they
mhm.
bend space. That's done by materials that are not stable in this reality. It's deeper in reality.
Yeah,
It's
now I
not,
got to mention, you're talking about that video with are you talking about when the Iranians were shooting at that shit?
well, that right there is it's gravitational bubbles. That's part
Yeah.
of the process. Yeah, they can't. We can't even. No, not that we should be shooting at them, uh, uh, but
Well,
they
no,
can't. They can't.
pointless.
Our weapons are useless.
Well, yeah,
You
you
know.
can't shoot at an orb, dude. Those are orbs. Some of those are fucking orbs on a mission, dude. They're turning into fire to take care of shit, dude. You can't shoot at these motherfuckers. It'd be like you're
No.
shooting at you want to shoot at the air, fine, but you're not. I mean, it was almost comical when you showed me that. I'm like, how pointless. I understand they're scared and freaked out, but man, you can't.
And
You
that's
know,
like
this
the
other
fact that
bitch.
they perceive what we're going to do before we do it because time for them is different.
Oh
Like
yeah, they
what
know.
our intentions are already they're already aware of the intention before you do it.
You know, I'll tell you. They'll tell you another thing they're aware of too. You think you're being sneaky if you see them outside and you're peeking out your window at them too long. They know
They
people
know
are
it.
like you and I. Well, you and I and humans can feel it. They know it. They'll turn right around and look at you, dude, if you give it enough
Yes.
time.
That's why
Oh
when
yeah.
you or I or anybody that is aware enough to ask for ask for acknowledgement that we're acknowledging them, they'll move their craft around to show you
Oh,
because
all the
they use
time, yeah. Tons of
yeah.
times,
It's
like
like
I'd have them do it nine
yep,
times in a yeah, I'd have them do it 9 times in a row, 10 times just to prove it. They'd
yep,
stop, do the circle, do round, keep asking. And I tell people, and if they do that for you that many times, and I mean, think about this: if you still don't believe, I mean, think about how crazy that'd be crazier the other side than it would be if they're acknowledging you. So you asked that thing to move nine times, and it did, but you still aren't convinced.
yeah.
So
I would tell you, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, it's just perception. Some people, if I guess if you're not ready, and the extraterrestrials are very good, they give you every last little chance to not believe. You know what I mean? They'll only go so far with it so you can still be in denial if you need to be.
Well, I
Most
can
of the
give you
time.
an example of how it is. I can tell you how it is they know when we are perceiving them. I'll give you evidence of that right now. If
Okay.
you look, if you, it's called a double blind study. If you look at if you look at a, if you look at a molecule, if it has mass. If the human consciousness looks away from that molecule, it becomes a wave. So
Yep. Perfect.
and they do that right now with security systems. They're taking beams of light and they're circulating, encrypting these beams of light around whatever they're trying to protect. If anywhere in this line that this security is breached, like say I send it off and somebody I've never even known looks and observes that light particle, it changes and it can be measured that some random human has seen this molecule. So when
Yeah.
we look and perceive these craft, they are able to perceive the human consciousness. Our consciousness is like a beam sent out from our mind. It
Yep.
is measurable and it is readable like somebody who's tapping your telephone. They call
Yeah.
it clairvoyance or psychic abilities. It is more mechanical than that.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up because when you told me this the other day, when you explained it to me like that, I thought to myself after we were done talking, I thought, man, that was a perfect fucking way he just described that. The way when you look away and look at it again, it's different. It's like these plasma beams with all kinds of multi-dimensions to them. It's like a chakra system that's surrounded by circles and circles of chakra systems, and then more and more and
Yeah.
more and more, and it changes and it fades and it comes back and it fades and you
Yeah.
look at it, it changes, and I thought, man, that was a perfect way he just described that. It explains a lot, you know.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful, dude. I just
Um,
no matter what happens, happening right now, it's wonderful to behold it. No, if it's good or if it's makes hardship for us, it's good to know we're not alone. You know what I mean? Proof of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. It's not. I think it's cool to know one thing for sure, and I don't buy anything till it's signed on the dotted line. Even though my channels and my contacts are solid, I always have been. But the thing is, we're in a time now where it ain't. Look, it is whatever. Even if there were no ETs, it's not nothing, dude. And I mean, think about this, and nobody's doing anything about it, right? I don't want them to do anything necessarily, but like they're showing up everywhere all of a sudden. These drones, like in mass. This isn't some kids fucking around or just some
Yeah, from
people
the
with a
ocean,
bunch of
bro. From
drones.
the
There's too
ocean.
many.
From the
Yeah,
ocean.
exactly. Yeah, that there you go. That kills the point right there. But and there's so many of these that you can't. I mean, it's almost like they're almost in denial about it. And then the news that does cover it, they're so 50 years behind the times. They're
Yeah.
like, well,
Well, no, it's
what
on
could
purpose.
it be? Ooh.
It's on purpose,
Huh?
Larry. It's on purpose. They're
Yeah.
saying that they're only in New Jersey. You know why they said that? First of all, they're on every seaboard. They're not inland. They're on the ocean seaboard. The reason why they're saying that they're only in New Jersey is it's the most populated state in the nation. There's more people looking up. They don't want to create panic. They are lying to us every night on the news. They're saying that they are never. They're not turning off their lights. That's a lie. They're saying that they only travel 60 miles an hour. That's a lie. They are traveling hypersonic speeds. So says the pilots out of North Bend, Oregon. Like they are lying particularly, and they are lying consistently across the board. That's alarming to me that they are so freaked out that they're lying to people about it. So that validates what's happening to me is their lies.
Yeah, they're perpetuating it, but I almost get the idea that some of these newscasters too, right? The lies are coming from definitely guided from above them up the corporate
Yeah,
ladder. But I almost get
nobody
the impression these people are just, these people are just kind of phony people. I'm not even so sure they're real humans. You look at something like not to pick on them, but Fox News. I mean, I used to laugh at because it looked like a bunch of women who they got, and gave them new
Yeah,
teeth, new hair, new eyelashes, new fucking, and women that sit there and are against every kind of woman's positive movement, everything, that help. Well, they're anti-choice. They're pro hardliner man, and of course, the creator of Fox News, he was sued for screwing all these women. Roger Ailes, he was a big fat pig that looked like Jabba the Hutt. But even most of the women that are on there now, they slept with him to get their job. I mean, that's on record.
well,
I mean, Harris Faulkner, and I don't even name a bunch of names,
nothing
whoever
wrong
they
with
are, fake eyelash teeth woman. I mean, get them a new teeth, Sandra Smith, whatever. Here's some new teeth, some fake eyes, some
yeah,
eyelashes,
tiny
and then
little skirt, tiny skirt.
the other side they can bitch about that, but the other side is just kind of clueless elite kind of mentality of thinking, on the other kind of networks.
It's a
But
distraction. It is a salt lick for the cattle. Is all it is, dude. It's a
yeah,
distraction.
yeah.
I mean, you know, there's no denying it, Larry. There's so much shit that's coming together. Why is Akuma? I can't say that word. Why is it coming back? How it was at the local standard. Okay, Akuma was at something called the local standard of rest, which means it was stationary like a buoy while our solar system shot by it. Now somehow it's returning. How the fuck does that happen?
Something we don't understand, science or some kind of quantum physics that we can't put into words, man. I mean, I
And
wish I could tell
why they name it Scout? A Scout. Its name is Scout. Why do they call it a Scout? Like, listen, they're all but telling us what's happening right now. Why are they doing all this UFO disclosure, all this, these hearings and stuff? Because they know what's coming, dude.
Well, they know it's coming, and the thing that you're going to have to watch for, and I want everybody to hear me really clear on this. If they in the future, if they listen to this future, hear me really clear right now. I want you to watch when this happens. I want you to watch it. If we interact with them, I want you to watch how our government leaders are acting. If our government leaders are all happy and chummy with them right off the bat, we've got a problem.
Yeah,
Because,
I'll
because
tell you.
the consciousness does not want anything to do with world governments or any of that kind of bullshit. The super high consciousness. If they come down and our world leaders are all chummy with them, especially the ones we got in the United States and that murderer in Russia, and that nut over in Israel, and the Khomeini and fucking that dude in North Korea,
They're all
all
stuff.
these right. If any of them are chummy with these people, we got a problem. These aren't the aliens these aren't the ETs that we like
Dude,
and want. And we've been
they
warned about
love
that
for
shit
power
too.
and control, dude. They love for
Yeah,
power and control. That's it.
yeah, exactly.
And
Exactly.
the
Just
fact that
watch out for it.
the fact that they go on the news repeatedly night after night, pundits, and they say, we don't know where they come from, we don't know who is operating them, but they're no threat.
I know,
Okay?
and there are people
There's
saying
no
this and
threat to
this
that.
is good. Yeah,
We don't know
like
how they kill themselves. What fuel source? We don't even know when they don't have to get refueled. We
yeah,
don't know where they come from. We don't know what their intent is, but they're no threat, which means they don't know fucking anything about,
no.
or they know everything, one or the other. I don't know which.
Yeah, but how can, yeah, exactly. Listen to what they're saying. We don't know anything about them, but we know they're not a threat. We don't know anything about them, but we know they're not a threat. Well,
We can't
okay,
get
how
that.
is that? Is it because they never have before? Okay, I can
Yeah.
buy that.
You
But
can't shoot them. They can't shoot one down. They can't shoot them down. Which I
no.
wish they wouldn't shoot at him. I wish they wouldn't shoot at him. I'm gonna be honest with you, but
Well,
it's
shit. Why
serious.
would they do that? Why?
Because
That's always puzzled me, man. Because I've seen it, dude. I've seen fights go on in the sky before. I've seen the Pleiadians blow shit up before from other places that were down here that shouldn't be, and I've seen the military chase them all around,
yeah,
especially from 12 to 15 when I was first going to this shit all the time, man. Every night, dude, there was a dogfight in the sky, and I don't understand it. Just a bunch of military cowboys thinking they're gonna get one of these things, but I mean, they don't. You can't do it, man. I mean, you're trying to bring
you
a
can't.
knife to you're bringing a toothpick to a gunfight.
It's amazing, dude. It's so
Yeah.
amazing, dude. The ships look so weird, man. They are so alien. They, they call them drones maybe for a reason because they meant be drones. They're precursor observers before the real deal gets here.
Yeah, the real drones are, but then we've got these fake ass ones that my orbs have been taking care of that our government's putting out there to throw up disinformation. And they were channeling to me saying, look, we can tell the difference. This is how they told it to me. This orb was like, look, it'd be like comparing one of your, those little things kids drive around when they're 5, the little plastic bicycles they sit on before they
Uh,
get in.
Hot
Yeah,
Wheel
right.
things.
Yeah, the little big wheels, whatever the hell they're called, your 453 driving one. It'd be like comparing one of those to a 12 speed. They know which, and they're these drones. They're just slamming them down. The ones that are fake, the ones that are real. There's a whole different technology to them and a morphing system to them that they have that ours don't down here. I don't want
They
to say
pull their
ours.
toolkit up from other places in reality, bro. They pull their toolkit up from other places in reality. That they're
Yeah,
dimensional, like you said. Listen, I seen that one tucked up in the fir trees on down Barview Road.
yeah,
It was 100 foot up and it was tucked in the trees like it was hiding, but I could still see the yellow plasma
yeah,
ball underneath the saucer. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't fully charged up, but it was the thing was autopilot. It was a windy night. It stood stationary and it didn't move. It was silent. It didn't move. It was just sitting there, dude. It's like 100 feet above my head. I mean, I eyeballed it, dude.
yeah.
It was different, dude.
It wanted you to see it, obviously.
But it knew I was looking at it. It
Yeah,
knows. It knows.
absolutely.
It perceives human consciousness
Mm-hmm.
observing.
Yeah,
Um,
sure it does.
I mean, we could do that right now with an EEG, electroencephalogram. We can put some electrodes on Larry Locken's head, and we can read
Yeah.
alpha and beta waves from the brain. Now, imagine
Oh, God.
2 million years in the future. How are you going to read those alpha and beta waves? You're going to read every thought and every intention. Is what you're going to do.
Yeah. Which ain't much. It wouldn't be a very long book reading my brain, but
Oh,
yeah,
yeah. I'm
yeah.
excited, bro. I'm excited about it.
Me too. Me too. I'm pretty
I,
psyched. But yeah, I'm kind of beyond it, dude, because it's been going on for me for 14 years. It's like, okay, now that it's happened, I'm like, man, where was this years ago? Now I'm kind of like, I'm cool with it, and I'm glad, but I'm like,
My
wow,
own
man.
house is on my side now, dude. My mom is blown away. You know when it started? I was out on the porch meditating on the stars. I'm thinking, this is the giver of life. You know, they're the sacrificial lamb that created the iron that gives my body the ability to breathe oxygen. The stars birthed us. I was giving thanks to them. And you know what happens? A giant green fireball flies over my head, lights up the entire
Mhm.
evening green. And the news the next day says it's a common occurrence. It happens all the time.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, I know. It's a Chinese lantern and a weather balloon, and 2 kids with a slingshot shooting an empty soup can back and forth with a label
Yeah,
tore off, so silver. So they're
yeah.
shooting it back and forth, dude. Anything you could fucking think of, dude. But people buy this shit. You look at the local groups we have around here, like Coos County this or Coos Bay, North Bend this. What's happening? Right? These people are asking, who are they? Where are they from? And I'm like, really? I'm like, because I know so much about it that I'm like thinking to myself, are they being serious? I've commented a few times. I'm like, man. I tell them what time it is, but I'm like,
They're
where are they from?
the
Who
gardeners,
do it?
bro. They're administrators and they're gardeners. They are they're what put us together, dude. They are the ones they give us a consciousness. You know, so
Yep.
some of one of them did. We're not indigenous to this planet. We are spliced with a primate.
Yep.
We were a slave workforce or a uh, another thought is, what if we are not fully evolved because we're missing a piece of the puzzle? What if we are
We are.
we one more section of, like, if we get the right trigger as an adult male, you become one more thing. Like, what if we have a metamorphosis we're not quite achieving because we're not being given the right catalyst?
Well, it's not that we don't have it. We do. The thing is, it's unplugged right now, and it's coming back together. It's being our brain is working towards it being plugged in. When we were genetically manipulated, they cut off our helix. They cut off our double strands of our DNA strands. They unplugged them, right? But the Pleiadians put something in the DNA to have it come back at some time and snuck that in there. So that's what's happening. That one piece you're talking about, that there's 23 parts to the DNA. That other 12 pieces coming back into fruition. I wish I could articulate that better, but that missing piece you're talking about is in us, and it's morphing back in us. It's just
Yeah.
waking up. And
What
yeah,
if it makes us what if it's a servant? It makes us be an unquestioning,
yeah,
willing group of. What if it makes us really directable and orderable? What if it puts us into a situation where we take orders and we group think? What if we
yep,
become like a slave workforce with a
yep.
single mind and intention? You know what I mean? I'm worried about that shit.
Mhm. Well, yeah, that's the flip side of it. Whereas when you ascend and you become an individualist and think for yourself, but then you meet a bunch of other star seeds that think the same way, and you guys form a collective. So that kind of group consciousness is what you want to go for. But what you don't want is a low vibrating group consciousness, because it creates the kind of shit you're talking about, where everybody just everybody misses the whole boat. They bitch and complain and they squabble with each other, and then they complain about their overlords. And and they may join each other in cliques because they feel like they have to, and it's just a head game. Whereas if everybody's like in their own power, but yet resonates within this 10% of the same frequency as each other at worst. Everybody kind of melds together, but yet they're all individually powerful and part of that consciousness, man. It's like when you realize you're part of God. It's like we use 10% of our brain, so now you're using 100%, but it ain't even that. With every percentage you raise, though, your consciousness doubles, is what they told me. So by the time you go from 10 to 100% usage, your brain's 9 times more, but you're like trillions of times bigger in consciousness, and
Yeah.
the fog's gone, and you wake up. You're me, I'm you, and we're just one body. I'm like, hey, who are you? Well, I'm you. Oh, I'm looking in the mirror. Oh, that's right. You're God. I'm God. Okay, we're all the creation. And it never began. It never. See, people have a hard time with that concept that it never began. It just expands. It detracts. It expands. It
Yeah. Well,
builds.
time is not linear. It only is
Yeah,
for us.
how could there ever possibly be an absolute beginning? Well, what became before that? Something had to come before that to start it. Did it just happen? Okay, so
Entire
in that
universe, bro.
day, whatever, I can
I
believe that.
surmise that when people call angels or those entities, I surmise that when the prior universe was dying, they jettisoned their bodies, so they might be
Yeah.
manifestations of energy, so they could cross over into the new universe which we're in right now. So, like, these angels or these dark entities or these these creatures that have metaphysical bodies that can walk through solid objects, because they exist on a different membrane of existence or a different dimension. But those things came
Mhm.
from a prior universe that they jettisoned their bodies so they could slide into this current one. That's what
Sure,
I think.
sure. Sure, that's gone on a lot, man. It's gone on a lot of different times throughout creation, and also planets dying out, or because of a nuclear war or something. They shoot their DNA towards another planet. Mars probably did.
Yep.
You ever seen
Yep.
Mission to Mars? Is something they don't like people to watch. A lot of truth to that. Those two planets that were in the asteroid belt that got blown up,
Yep.
Tiamat and Marduk, same thing. And people think it was the same war. No, they were. One was about 65 million years ago. One was about 200 million years ago. That those
Yep.
two were blown up, right? And those were humanoid planets, like Venus was. Venus was lucky because their third dimension got nuked to shit, but they were able to get up into the fifth dimension and create an existence there that is since now moving into the seventh by this
Mm.
time. And so, all these planets in our solar system had the Sphinx and had those pyramids. At least I know that, I'm sure that Mars did. I'm sure that Venus did. The rings of Saturn, probably. Neptune, Jupiter, per se. Probably. I'm more keyed in on Venus and Mars, but okay, those other places, right? And, it's just, I'll give you an example too. Another thing, I saw this article the other day. It was really misleading, the title. It said, planet forming between Mars and Jupiter could create havoc for the Earth's climate. And I'm like, okay. And started reading it, and what it was saying is there was some kind of a gas bubble that before we were formed, or when we were first getting formed, that it could have created a planet there between those two. And so that was kind of misleading there. But what I'm thinking is creation. These scientists even, and I'm usually on their side, they don't understand creation. It's like they wouldn't have allowed some kind of shit like that to happen unless they were
They're
trying to
arrogant, bro.
sabotage or destroy it.
It's
Unless
like
they
it's
were
like
really trying to destroy, huh?
yeah. They're arrogant. It's like
Yeah,
they're able to they're able to decipher the alphabet but deny the ability for words to exist. You know what I mean?
yeah. That's a perfect analogy of it, man. Yeah, exactly, man. And it's like, okay, these planets were terraformed and created by creators.
Yes.
So do
Yes.
you think they would have done
Gardening.
that? If they wanted to destroy Earth, they would have done what the other societies done, and they would have nuked the shit out of it with high tech
Very.
nuclear weapons.
There is a planet on the other side of our solar system that we don't see it because it's on the other side of the sun. I
Mm,
remember 100%. This is check this out. The group of people that declassified Pluto into a Kuiper Belt object.
yeah,
That following year, they released a map showing a large rocky planet that is directly opposed to us on the other side of the sun, so we can never see it.
yeah.
And all of a sudden, that's been scrubbed from the internet, dude. I showed the map. I showed it to my wife, and all of a sudden, it's just gone. You can't even find any reference to it on the internet, dude. There is a
Well,
planet.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's
When I used to
intense, dude.
sun gaze a lot, okay, when I used to sun gaze a lot, I'd get really focused and tune into it. It was really amazing. Okay, so the sun had moved to the side. I'd finally get it to where I'd do it forever, and the sun would move to the side a little bit. And what it was showing me was the other side of the galaxy. And sometimes I'd see another sun, and it'd be the sun from the Pleiades, Alcyon, but sometimes it would blank out and there'd be nothing there, and I couldn't quite get a read on what it was. So, I mean, yeah, it looked like a black plasma hole some of the time, and then some of the time I would see that other sun. It
Well,
was
that black
really
hole hole is a dimensional, is a bending of space and time. The heaviest object in our vicinity is the sun. The sun is a dimple in the membrane that we walk on. So they utilize that gravitational well in order to travel great distances with less energy.
Yeah, the sun, there are a lot of, I don't know about ours per se, but a lot of suns, Alcyon, they have the highest form of the human beings that exist on there. They really do, dude. And they get all their food. And other planets are starting too. They get nutrition from the sun. It would be like you and
They
I.
all do.
Yeah, but can you imagine it making you full all the time? So you'd never even want to eat, being just sat,
It's
there's
amazing.
a lot of Pleiadian planets do it. Some still eat fresh, raw vegetables, but mainly now they're getting all their food nutrition from the sun, and it's totally logical to me how that would happen. You know what I mean?
Well,
When you have
calories
a
come from the sun, dude. Calories that we eat are attenuated energy from the sun. Without the sun, you wouldn't have the caloric intake. So we, in a lesser way, I mean, it makes more sense praying to the sun than it does, some man-made entity. Because the sun
right, yeah.
gave life to the universe. Suns created the constituents and the framework, so we may ponder back on the universe. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
Uh,
agree totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you're gonna pray to the sun instead of some guy with a beard in the clouds playing a harp, right? But pray. But
yeah,
I'd say more give thanks. I'm not gonna pray, even though it's more powerful than me. I'm not gonna bow down to it and be a
you're
punk
indigenous,
to it.
bro. Aren't you Coos Indian? I would say give thanks is correct, right?
Nah, yeah, kind of, dude. We're not anymore, dude. There was a DNA dispute, man, and we're not anymore. That's
Well,
another
you're not as
story.
Indian as you can be. I don't know about that. Huh.
Yeah, you and I haven't talked about that yet. I thought I'm sorry, Mr. X would have told you about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this happened in 2000, right before Sif and I had moved up to Salem for a couple years. And dude, yeah, man, everything, dude. In fact, I was,
Your, your mom
yeah,
is as Native American looking as any Indian woman I've ever met, dude.
yeah, I know what yeah, but the problem with that tribe is there's nobody alive left that is more than 1/8 of that Indian left. I mean, and I'm
Yeah.
talking the elders that are about dead. Within
Yeah.
a couple years, there will be nobody left in that tribe with more than 1/16 Indian in them. And I'll
Pretty
tell you what,
Scandinavian looking.
It's like a clan rally, a tribal gathering with them. I always used to joke growing up, and man, it's wide enough to be a clan rally here. You know,
Well, I'll
unless
tell you, I mean, yeah, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that, Larry.
yeah, it's fucked up, man. My whole life, yeah, man. I'm really uprooted
Glad
my
to know
kids.
where all the money from the casinos is going, dude. Can I tell you what? The Paiute tribes, man, they drive around semi trucks. They give so much money to their tribal members. You know what I mean?
No, do I know Foxwoods back in New Jersey? The big, I mean, that's the biggest casino in the world. At Foxwoods, oh man, they make what is it? They get oh god, this was 20. And keep in mind, dude, this was 20 years ago. They were getting $60,000 a month each.
That's amazing, right?
Yeah, and now it's got to be more. Yeah, but then there was only like 40 members that qualified for that because they were the full blood quantum. Yeah, they had
Yep.
some weird rules. Yeah, but yeah, I had guys that worked for me that had come out here that had worked back there at Foxwoods, right? And they didn't pay very good actually either, and they were they were that wealthy, man. Yeah, it must be nice, huh?
Damn, Larry, I distracted your entire show. We had a premise what we were supposed to talk about and went all over the place. I apologize, Larry.
About my yeah. Oh, dude, it's bad. I feel bad for my kids though. Just to rip it out like that and to do that. See, my mom was adopted, and nobody really knew about it. And then somebody did that knew them from the '40s, and oh yeah, they got to do a DNA test, dude. It was a hit job, and you know what?
Well,
I mean, yeah, it was a total hit job, man.
same thing happened to my stepdad, dude. He started questioning some things, and they pretty much just removed him from everything. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, but yeah, man, you can be blackballed,
It's,
and that's
it's
how
tribal, man.
people.
It's not like your local council. It is a government unto itself.
Yeah, and it looks like they really don't know how to do anything. But yet, here's the weird part about things like that, councils like that at tribes. But some fucking dude can come in, just because he's from the outside, and they'll pay him a shitload of money, and he can manipulate and work that shit for
Yeah,
years before they finally get rid of him. They're the
yeah.
weirdest people, dude. You got to, I guess, people see the problem with people like that is you can't really be friendly. They want a guru. I ran into this when I was really popular years ago doing this, like thousands of viewers a night, sometimes hundreds on the other channel. Dude, there'd be people that would want me to be their guru, and I'm not. I love gurus, but I'm not their guru. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I want to be your friend. I want to help empower you. I want you to be powerful. And
Yeah.
and they like a guru, man.
Yeah.
And it's
They
hard
want
when
somebody.
you
They
really
want
are.
somebody to tell them that they're enlightened. And like,
Yeah,
if that person's enlightened, they wouldn't feel the need to tell you. That's a guru. You know,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Well, I would have one. I'm not kidding. This is a funny thing I tell people. If I was wealthy, I would have one, but it'd be more like a confidant, a social advisor, and to fuck with friends. Yes, when they came over, I would sit there. Any question they'd ask me, and I'd say, "Hold on, I'm going to have to ask my guru," and then I would do that every time just to mess with them. And then I would say to them, last time you guys came over, you guys upset my guru. I couldn't get him off the floor. He was doing telekinesis for 2 weeks straight, and I just don't upset him. Don't whisper. He needs to know everything you're asking me because he worries about me and he cares and he doesn't want me to go down a bad road. So anything you ask me, I'm gonna have to go ask my guru. Yep,
Speaking of
anything. I'm gonna
telekinesis,
go ask him.
speaking of
Yeah,
telekinesis, Larry, one of these times on this program, we should talk about the adverse effects of near-death experiences and resultant telekinesis. I got some stories about that for you if you'd like to hear them.
oh, I
Um,
would. Yeah, let's make a deal. Yeah, let's do that next time. We'll talk about your telekinesis experience. But the thing is, I was going to say too, is it's not really to be in touch with shit. It used to be you have to really get in touch with telekinesis. You don't really anymore. Just like you don't have to drop LSD anymore to get in the fifth dimension. While we were talking before the show, you mentioned DMT, and I was talking about, I had never tried it because we didn't have it back then when we were growing up. But the LSD was the closest thing I could ever describe to being in that fifth dimension. Mr.
yeah,
X and I were talking about that too, about how this is how the one genius thing he did do, and I use this, the one he described LSD perfectly, the peak. He said, and he said it back then when we were 14. He's like, man, this is like having every emotion that you've ever had in your life going off at once. The saddest you've been, the happiest you've been, the maddest you've been, the gladdest you've been, everything like that extreme
yeah,
popping off
yeah.
right at the same time when you're
You know,
peaking.
yeah, yeah.
Does that sound right to you at all?
Well, here's how I describe it, Larry. LSD is like recreational schizophrenia. That's what I
Yeah,
call
I
it.
love it. Yeah, no, really, though, really, dude, it is because you don't know, man. That's why I was always, even then, I'm like, dude, there's no way I would do it as an adult because you have responsibilities and start tripping on shit, and you can
Well,
go, and that shit can change,
DMT,
man. That shit can change on a dime.
DMT is high fidelity. It is high fidelity. It's all inclusive. It is
Hmm.
is like putting that ring on your finger in the Lord of the Rings. Everything that
Hmm.
is around you sees it. I've been like getting stressed out, and I get a heavy back massage by something. I'm against a wall. Every time I've
Really?
participated in DMT, I say I'm loved by God as I go in. It is DMT is not. No, here's my motto for DMT. DMT. Nobody said it was fun. You know what I mean? It's not a good time, dude. It's intense.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was told. But I was told by a fellow friend of ours, I'm not going to mention his name, that he took some, and he said it was actually weird. He said he had all these like bouncing basketball heads that were talking to him and wondering where he had been, and they were excited that he was there and all that
That's
shit.
good.
And, yeah, isn't that weird? And what you're telling me, yeah, I mean, it sounds. And I heard it's only about like it's like a peak, not peaking on LSD, but the peak of it only lasts about 10 minutes. Is that right? Or
It's 10 minutes, but it is all inclusive. You are made to be alone, but still aware of everything. It is the most intense thing. It's called the spirit
mm,
monster for a reason. I couldn't imagine just giving it, just offering it to somebody. You know what I'm saying? It's so
mm,
like it's so profound that it is it's I would never say, hey man, you want to try this? I would never do
no.
that.
Fuck no, dude, none of that shit. I'm pissed off still at Mr. X. When we were 15, he gave you know whose little brother, Mark, oh, I spelled his name, a half a hit of window pane. And he said, told me that shit when we were tripping. And his mom had just said, hey, you guys are cool to be like that here, but if you give some to him, I'm gonna call the cops. And I'm like, okay, cool. I ain't gonna do that. And he looks at me and he said, dude, I did something. I said, what? I said, I gave that one half a hit of that window pane we had left. I gave it to him. You know who?
He's man, he'll
Yeah,
be
and
fine.
I said, no, you didn't. And he said, yes, I did. I said, dude, no, you didn't. Don't tell me that shit, man. No, you didn't. He said, yes, I did. I said, you son of a bitch, man. And so that kind of thing right there went from a great trip to kind of a bad trip, wondering. And and he was flipping out, acting weird, dude. I mean, you can imagine him on, which
He's
was the
fine.
equivalent of 2 hits of regular LSD.
Yeah, he's fine. I don't do LSD anymore, man. LSD is like too intense to me.
Well,
It
I
doesn't.
haven't. I would never. You couldn't pay me $1 million, and I've said this. The last hit I took was on August 1st, 1995. I was 20. I got a hit for free, obviously, from Mr. X, and it was one dose of it. It was weak. It had a lot of strychnine in it. I tripped a little, but you know, but before that, it had been about a year. Since I had really right after I graduated from high school. But so really, I mean, it's
Oh,
been
that
since
sounds
the early
like
'90s since I really was into it.
probably like 8 years ago for me. It's
30.
also it's a substance for interrogation too. I mean, you can't lie when you're on it. So
Is it? Yeah, I didn't think it was around anymore. See, maybe because I was out of the game, but I always thought that okay, the kids, do they have access to the LSD anymore? I always thought it
I'm not
kind of
around
went
kids. I have
away.
no idea, dude. You know what I'm saying? I never had
Well,
children, so it'd be the
no,
reason for me to be around kids.
no, I get it, I know that part, but I mean, I didn't see. I mean, was it available in Eugene and shit? If could a person have
Of course
found
it
it?
is. Dude,
Huh?
why we have so much of them when we were so young? We were like 13, 14 years old. How the hell does that happen, dude?
Well, I was telling people about all the drugs we would do at night on those weekends, dude, and people don't believe. I'm like, look, well, how can you guys have livers anymore? You mean to tell me you were snorting a line and you were tripping on acid, smoking dope, drinking booze? Yeah, man. I mean, it
We didn't
happened.
smoke
And
dope back then. We didn't smoke dope back then.
no, never. Not good. Well, pot. I meant pot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, the others a couple times, but yeah, but seriously, man, I don't know, and I would, I'm glad my kids didn't. In fact, I would probably have been like, I wouldn't have believed it for a second. They were squares, thank God. They learned what not to do from me, and
Yep.
but what I didn't know is what I mean is was LSD. Okay, put it this way. If you had $1,000 and I said, I want you to go to Eugene and I want you to, do you think LSD is still available on campus like it was
Yeah,
when we were
it's
kids?
easy to get. Yeah, absolutely it is.
Okay,
Yes.
it's still being made then. That's all I want to know. I don't want to
Yeah.
clean me, dude. You couldn't pay me $1 million to do another dose of it.
It takes so much time out of your life, like 12 hours and shit. I got no
Oh,
time for that.
that's what I mean. And you get locked in, and man, shit can change on a dime. You can be having a good time, and I almost died from it. Like, I got to tell one story because this is the truth. Look, they talk about dying laughing. Me and Mr. X would have if we would have been locked in a room. My mom was camping. We were peeking on the shit and smoking pot with it. And we started laughing for about 2 hours straight at each other. David, my side started caving and I couldn't breathe. His did
Oh
too.
yeah,
We couldn't
I
stop
remember
laughing
that,
at each
dude.
other.
Was I with you?
I got a moment of clarity. I grabbed him by the shoulder and I said, dude, we're going to die. You need to get out of here,
I was
go into
with
the
you,
spare
wasn't
room.
I?
go hide from 20 minutes. Not that night. It was just him and I. I said, dude, you're going to have to go in the spare room. Get out of here. I'm going to need 20 minutes. You're going to need, we're going to fucking die. I
Yeah,
couldn't
that's what
breathe.
I had to
Dude,
do, dude. Fuck.
we would have died. We would have died if we were locked in an elevator or something. No, David, we couldn't stop. I had water pouring out of my eyes like an ocean. He did too. And I'd look over at him. We couldn't stop. I'd look at him. He'd look at me, and
Yeah.
I couldn't breathe. Some God must have got a hold of me because I grabbed him hard by the shoulder. I said, dude, you're going to have to go in the spare room or we're going to die. So I'll see you in about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And then it was cool. But man, we would have been dead, dude. We would have been dead because we couldn't breathe no more. We couldn't breathe.
Dude,
Yeah.
LSD will make you lose the ability to even speak. Okay, like
Yeah.
I
I thought I had,
like you lose your communication centers. DMT, that never happens. You
Okay.
are fully aware. You don't get intoxicated. You get removed from reality. It's all inclusive, and it's fucking. It is nothing to be trifled with. Like yeah, it's nothing to be trifled with. I use it. I use it to the night. I use it to meditate on the stars. That's when that green ball flew out of the sky. That's when. That's when.
That's the way you use it. Holistically, yeah, holistically, right? And then mushrooms, we'll touch on those real quick because we grew up in Oregon. I mean, they're everywhere.
They're all over here. They're all over. Yeah.
Right. And Oregon blues are better than anything in the country. It was funny about 8 years ago when X was staying with me for a little while. He had he had probably what we could have gotten $1,000 back in the Midwest for our campus. We couldn't, nobody used them anymore that we knew. Nobody to sell them to. Not that we would. We just sure as hell didn't want to do. I mean, we're, smoking pot, but we didn't want any of that shit. Dude, we ended up flushing down the toilet. I can't believe it. I mean, if we would have known the right people, we probably could have got $1,000 for the shit that we flushed down the toilet that he just went out and picked.
Yeah, you don't want to do that though.
No.
I like mushrooms. I mean, I've been in a while. I think just like a very subtle amount of them. You know what I mean? Like microdosing of them, but not enough to go like. I like mushrooms way better than I like LSD. Like LSD is like styrofoam chemical.
Yeah, it's clean. It's clean. And it was about a month before I'd had that LSD. The last time I had any shrooms, and we were drinking it in tea. In that summer in '95, and it was a lot cleaner of a body high. And the thing is, it only lasted about. Well, I mean, it lasted about 4 hours of really hardcore, and then it kind of died down a little bit. But it wasn't like tripping on acid, man.
Yeah. It still makes you sickly a little bit, though. DMT has no hangover. You know what I mean?
Yeah, shrooms does. Yeah, shrooms do. They got that really kind of faint. Yeah.
They call it the spirit molecule for a reason. It's a derivative of ayahuasca, which is it's a vision quest. It's a vision communication. Check this out, Larry. Every time I would do it, I would see the glyphs on the human body that binds consciousness to flesh. It is intense, dude.
Yeah.
It's I'm just blown away that people even have access to it, dude.
A lot of people get. Hold on, a lot of people get the two confused. They get ayahuasca and DMT confused, and I'm not the most educated person on it. I've heard it described to me before, but what it really is the difference between DMT and ayahuasca, man? I mean,
the difference is about 24 hours.
What's that supposed to be? You mean the length that lasts, or what?
Yeah. Well, yeah, one of them is a long plane ride. The other one is a rocket ship up and down real quick.
Yeah, but
one is a bungee jump, and the other one's a trip to the moon.
Okay, the real quick one though, is it more intense?
I can't say I've never because the only Native American vision ceremony I've ever participated in. I was invited to a peyote ceremony. That was also very intense.
Yeah, you're there. Okay, we're live. Now, I've never done peyote either. Have you? What is it like? If so, what is it like?
Peyote, much like DMT, is a medicine for vision of other places that that you can't normally see. So to me, it's extremely sacred. You know what I mean? Like I approach dimethyltrexate. I with respect, you know what I mean? Like it's not meant for a joyride. As far as the peyote goes, I'm with the Lakota Indians. It's the first legal peyote ceremony in the state of Oregon. I've been invited to it.
The Lakotas, they have ties. They have hardcore ties to the Pleiadians. But yeah, go ahead.
So I'm in this teepee with a bunch with all Native American people, and the peyote, it comes around and you drink it. I remember telling myself, I'm not going to puke. I'm not going to puke. So I take a big old swig of that peyote broth, and next thing I know, I'm looking at the back of this guy's head. He was vomiting. I said, "Look at that guy. He's puking." And it was me, dude. I was looking at the back of
Oh,
my own head, vomiting.
I, I can see that.
Okay,
I could believe that. Yeah.
and I was given a vision of first of all, anything that's indigenous is difficult. Okay, um, the peyote something was difficult. You know you're doing it right if it's really hard. Okay,
Okay.
like to get vision is it takes extreme difficulty. You can't go on a weekend and do your vision quest and all that. No, it's not like that, dude. To get to the point where you see vision, it is arduous, it is difficult, it does not come easy.
Mm.
And
I
that's
bet not. Yeah, and that's the Native American way too, dude. I bet it's like that. I bet it's just like that.
it's not easy, dude. It's not
No,
easy.
I
And,
bet
and
having one is a motherfucker. And I bet you one thing, David. I bet you're never the same again if you have it.
better off. I mean, if you do it right, though, dude. I mean, the people that I was with, they were sun dancers. You know what I mean? They used this
Yep.
drum
Yep.
called a water drum. It's a completely
Oh
different
yeah.
sound than particular songs.
Oh
I
yeah.
had watched the people I was with. I had watched dance for like 4 years prior. It was, and I was probably like what 16 or 15 or something. It defined for the rest of my life. You know?
Oh yeah, man. And you know they know a lot about extraterrestrials, man. The thing
Yes.
about the Pleiadians is they have influence with the Nordics, the Scandinavians, our Native Americans, the Aborigines. About
Yeah.
70% of the cultures here, you know, and
Yeah.
they look like all those different races put together. They get a stereotype as being these Nordic blondes, and some of them are, yes, it's true, but some of them are Mediterranean, some of them are Native American, some of them
They're
are
whatever they want to be.
Italian. A lot of Italian roots in Pleiades.
Yeah.
Greek. Yeah, man. I mean, so it's everything. And also, they're responsible. The Pleiadians told me they're responsible for a few things. They're responsible for goth. They're responsible for rainbow riding, both ends of the spectrum. They're responsible for psychedelic rock to us, disco, Pink Floyd, ELO,
Yeah.
the Beatles, Nikola Tesla, anything, all that shit I just mentioned. They said they were the consciousness for them. And the same
Yeah.
thing with both goth and Wicca, and also like the opposite of it, like rainbow riding and shit like that. So you got everybody from fucking Trent Reznor to Sarah McLachlan. It's a Pleiadian. Everybody from Anthony Kiedis to Anne Murray. You know,
Yeah.
varies, dude. And
Anne
it,
Murray.
well, I'm giving an example. You know, man. Yeah. Well,
Isn't
Anthony
she
Kiedis, I
isn't
know
she
he is.
Atlas Shrugged? Isn't she Atlas Shrugged? Is that who wrote that?
Nah, she was like, what the hell did she write? She was a Canadian chick. She wrote, oh, she did a remake of the Monkeys, Cheer Up, Sleepy Jean, Daydream
Oh, never mind. I
Believer.
get that mixed up. Sorry.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, you know, I know Anthony Kiedis is because he's talked about it, the Chili Peppers. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're like we were. It's just that they made it big. I've read about their life growing up. They were all buddies in school and shit, and you know, and
Hey, it ain't for lack
stoners.
of trying. I've been trying for a while, Larry. I've been trying to, man. Uh,
Yeah,
yes. But you know what? All that doesn't matter, anyways. We're on the cusp
yeah,
of something fantastic, whether it's good or bad. It is.
yeah.
We know where we're at in the universe, and
And
no matter what happens to you and me, life exists, and that's really what's most important.
oh, absolutely. It's teaming with life. And I mean, I've done, you know what I mean? I get depressed a lot sometimes. But dude, I've had a great life. I've had some great friends. I've seen a lot. I've seen everything I want to see. I've been everywhere I want to be, you know. I mean, I'll get back into it. Like, I want to get into video games here in about 10 years, though, when the shit gets completely virtual reality. And then,
Yeah.
you know, you travel anywhere you want. And they'll have that someday. You can just, either you can go there live or you can, you know, travel through. The technology will be such a
Yep.
high form of consciousness, though,
Yep.
that
Yep.
it'll be the same thing as going there, even though you're in a
Mr. X will
virtual
be on.
reality.
Mr. X will be there, and then we'll have to get whatever he got. I've walked in and seen Mr. X like on his virtual reality headset on. He's like already mechanized. You know what I mean?
Or does he have that already? He told me he did. I haven't seen him wearing it, dude. I got to get a photo of that shit. Is he? Oh,
Dude, funny,
fuck.
funny. What is his old roommate's name? What's his name? The guy
Uh,
you lived with. What's that?
yeah, dude. He's pretty cool. I don't know what the hell his name is though, dude.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think,
walking
hey
into. I
man,
like him too. But I'll go walk into his place. This guy's sitting there with like in his underwear with that virtual goggle glasses on. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here, dude? It looks
oh
so
yeah.
funny.
Well, yeah,
Very
you know,
cool.
I could see Flea and Anthony Kiedis doing the same kind of shit. Yeah, you know, I don't know his name. He's cool, but I haven't. You know, you know how we are how we roll, dude. I don't ask a lot of questions unless it's to you or somebody to bother the shit out of you. Then I'll ask you a bunch of stupid
Yeah.
questions over and over that mean nothing. But dude, if I don't know you, man, dude, I don't want to know really. You know, if you want to tell me, fine. But hey, man, I mean, I'm not here to, you know, I'm not here to ask a bunch of questions.
Dude, I probably run my mouth too much, Larry.
And that's them being a cop or something. Well, the problem I used to have was I would sit there to fuck with people. I would ask them any kind of stupid questions, like, "Have you ever took a piss? Have you ever walked down the road? Have you ever walked the dog? Have you ever ate dinner? You know, like constantly. Have you ever heard of MTV? Have you ever, just shit like that." So I could see where people might think I was a snitch or something. But no,
You
dude,
a
it was
What the
just
fuck
for
you
me
talking
being
about?
funny. Yeah, I was just being funny, dude. But I wasn't trying. I could care less. I was just being funny. And no, I don't want to know anything, dude. Hey, I don't want to know any. I don't know anybody. I don't want to know anybody. Like I told the cops in high school sometimes, when they come visit and, "Oh, well, you guys know anything about this guy selling drugs?" Hey, man, I don't know nothing about nothing, dude.
Yeah, we know him.
Yeah, we know. I mean, forget that I just bought a fucking handful of joints from him at lunch. Yeah, no, I've never seen him before. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot. Well, he's unique. He's got long hair, and I don't know. It sounds like a lot of people. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's a big school, I mean, we had about
They
2,000
never
people
talked to
there.
me, dude. It was not even an option for me. But
What was
yeah,
not an
go
option?
back to the childhood again. The freaking evidence of metaphysical and extraterrestrial
Yeah,
physical technology is above our
yeah,
heads right now.
right.
They are like fireflies. They are dropping into our ocean. They are evading our radars. They are
Oh, yeah.
traveling our skies with immunity. They can't be
Uh-huh.
fired upon. They
Uh-oh.
amazing.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, man, it's always been that way, but it's in mass now. It's just like they've always been here, but it's like the league expanded. They went from 20 teams to 30 teams or whatever you want to say.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I had been thinking prior that they showed themselves because we have been talking so much about disclosure. They're like, fuck it, I guess we're going to show ourselves. And now, you know
yeah,
what I feel, Larry? I feel like the disclosure was to get ahead of their coming. Okay, and they're here
yeah.
now not because of the disclosure. They're here now because they disclosed because they're going to be here now. That's what happened.
Well, they watch those groups that I'm in and shit, man. They're aware, and I've noticed it public. They're starting to talk about us star seeds and light workers, and they used to just laugh us off and call us the sparkle fart unicorn rainbow riding community or sparkle fart unicorn rainbow riding brigaders community, and that's how they would classify us and stereotype. I've heard it. I've been asked about it when I was still into politics. Oh, are you still? When's your community? I've been even asked before. Hey, when are you in that community? You're just going to wake up. And I'm like, "Oh,
Well,
well," I'm thinking to
wait,
myself,
nine years.
when are we gonna wake up? Oh yeah. No, and here we're trying to get the world to wake up, and they're like, "What are you guys gonna wake up and get real and quit pretending?" Well, dude,
There's
here's the thing, man. If there's a 10 million of us strong now, dude, and you know what would be the coolest, craziest thing? Actually, I tell people is if none of this was real, if we're all just imagining it, and if that's the case, then 10 million of
we
us
are
are on
though.
the. Yeah, exactly. But I mean, if it isn't real, dude, that would be the crazier story because that would mean that just out of some fucking random coincidence, 10 million and growing every day of us have had the same experiences, 80% at the most extreme unalike, or I mean, alike, you know what I mean? That's the
Yeah,
biggest difference. Mostly it's about 90% alike. Your upbringing, how you were with your family, I've heard it literally thousands of times interviewing people and talking to people and shit. Yeah, man. I mean, that would be the craziest stories if there was nothing to it. That would be really
Larry.
fucking wild.
Yeah, it's way wild. I'm gonna leave you with one more note before I call it a night here.
Yeah, me too. But I gotta.
Two points. Here, about 5 years ago, they found a galaxy where there were hot Jupiters all stacked up. They couldn't figure out why there's so many hot Jupiters. Now, Jupiter blocks all of the incoming meteorites and comets. It protects the Earth. And I thought, maybe they're building the solar systems with these
Yeah.
hot Jupiters. But now that we have a Jupiter-sized planet traveling 1 million miles an hour towards our planet, I think that's their armada. And what's going to happen when that thing comes into our solar system and wreaks havoc on all freaking all orbits? Like
Mm,
we have 9 years before they're inside our solar system.
yeah, I don't. Dude, either that's meant to happen, or if it's not, dude, it'll be stopped. If that's not meant to happen, believe me, if the Galactics don't want that happen, that fucker will be stopped.
I think
I
they've
mean,
been here before, dude. This is Wormwood. This is Nibiru. This
yeah,
is
well, yeah, Nibiru. Yeah, Nibiru is, really in the span of time, Nibiru is pretty recent, man. It's only about 500,000 years ago. I mean, we were here 1 billion years ago with a civilization the first time as big as more powerful than we are now. That was the first time. Shit, Atlantis was only about 1 million years ago, and Atlantis has been a couple different incarnations here, but Atlantis has also been to fucking Mars. It's been to Venus too. It happened up
yeah,
there,
the
Atlantis.
sea people. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, dude. It's really complicated, but it's not. It's like Atlantis. There's a book called Atlantis Civilization by the guy named Brad Steiger wrote it in the early 70s. It came out, but he wrote it at the same time Von Däniken did Chariots of the Gods in 68. But there's 10 possibilities he put in there of what Atlantis could be. He was on Coast about 20 years ago talking to Nori when Nori first took over for Art Bell. And they were talking about it. And I got to thinking after they named them all, I'm like, when they said, we're going to talk next about which one we think is the likely choice. And I thought, you know what? All 10 of those motherfuckers have happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's what they both said. They said, you know what? They agreed that they think every 10 of those possibilities was right. And I did too, because all that shit's happened in different incarnations. The last one was destroyed by a nuclear war between Atlantis and Lemuria.
You
Yeah,
see the
that's why
evidence
the
of it
Outback
too.
is there.
You can see
Huh?
the evidence of the planet. You see the evidence of that war on our
Outback, yeah,
planet.
the
Building
Outback is the
blocks.
big evidence. Yeah, the Outback was nuked. That was the part of it. See, you and I, David, we're from the east coast of what was Lemuria, Oregon, Washington, and not all of California, but that top third were the east coast of Lemuria. We stretched clear down. Hawaii was a big snow-filled mountain cap peak, but then it stretched down through New Zealand and Australia, and the Outback was nuked. Lemuria was a civilization that was really powerful, but they stayed to themselves. They covered about 40% of the landmass of the earth, but they really didn't go anywhere. But they had a great coast guard that guarded the whole coast, and they had high-tech weapons. Atlantis was also had their place over. They started on the east coast of our country, and in between was ocean, and they went all the way through Europe, parts of Europe, and they had also little islands that they had conquered all over the fucking planet, dude. They were like warfaring and shit, and kind of a greedy society. And Lemuria was like a super high tech Polynesian Indian, mixed kind of a strong, fucking
Yeah.
powerful,
There's evidence of it,
spiritual.
Larry.
Oh
They're
yeah,
finding their
yeah,
cities in the Amazon.
yeah. Well, look at our hillsides on at the ocean. All those little indentions and shit inside our cliffs that are right over the ocean. It looks like somebody poked a bunch of holes in it. There's all kinds of evidence. Hawaii was the Hawaii. Can you imagine Hawaii being the snow-filled part of Lemuria? Lemuria is a nice tropical civilization, except for Hawaii. Hawaii, Hawaii was the big snow-filled top peak. Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
8
that's
years
why
till they
too,
arrive,
guys.
dude. 8 years until that planet arrives. 8 years.
Yeah. Well, and that'll be a big scare story. They could make a bunch of money on. 8 years is time goes by so quick now, but yet at the same time, okay, yeah. Well, we'll see, dude. Who knows
I,
what's going to
I also
happen?
feel. I also feel that the fact that our northern lights have been going across the entire planet. The fact that they can see northern lights way down in South America
You
is
said
because
that. Yeah, I've been thinking about that. Is that true? Because we didn't. I
yes,
didn't. Okay.
They,
Wow.
they are tethering. They are tethering themselves to our. They're tethering molecule to molecule, dude. So they might be here
Okay.
quicker than fucking 8 years. Our planet's being tethered to something. Um,
Yeah, but if
yeah,
it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. But dude, there's powers out there that if they don't want that to screw with Earth, I mean that thing will get destroyed in a second.
I mean the Earth will be fine. It's us that
Yeah.
might get screwed with.
Oh, you're talking about the people. Oh, you're thinking. Are you on the Nibiru thing, the Anunnaki? Yeah, we're ready. We're ready. Hey, dude, it's cool. We're ready for those fuckers this time. I mean, I'm glad. Really, then you just made my day because this is what I got to say to them. What I got to say to the Anunnaki and the lizards. Us Lyran warriors, Pleiadian warriors, Arcturian warriors were ready. And I want to tell you something. If you could, I love peace and I love love and everybody. I'm going to go say this to the Anunnaki right now. You know what would make me the happiest person for the rest of my existence is if you guys would just try that shit one more time with us. Just
Mm.
one more time, bring it. Just one more time, please. Like you destroyed Lyra, all those Earth planets, because our elders were stupid enough and let the reptilians in. Yeah, God, I would just wish. Well, I wish they would just try that one. Yeah, so I'm
It's,
sending that message out to him. Just I wish you guys come, just try that one more time, and you'd make me
it's
the
in
happiest
Lil is the
warrior
problem,
ever.
bro. It's in Lil is the problem, dude.
Yeah,
Uh,
he is. Yes, he is. Enki kind of had a change of heart, and Enki actually,
he's our guy,
yeah,
dude.
yeah, yep. No, I know the whole story, and I've dealt with it. Yes, he is. Enlil is a son of a bitch.
Yeah, it's a problem, dude. If you want to see what they're gonna do, what they want to do, go back and look at the Sumerian tablets and look how they sit upon us, and how they're like 3 times our height. They want us to grovel to them, dude. It is.
That sounds like
Mhm.
my uncle Ashtar. He likes to do that shit, dude. I got a space uncle that's a son of a bitch, dude, and he's okay sometimes, but he's a manipulator and likes for people to bow down to him. Although I think he's kind of grown out of it now in his old age. But yeah, he likes a cult type of a following,
Yeah.
and he likes people to bow down to him. And I've dealt with him a lot because I'm related to him. And last time we were together, I had a good time a month before I incarnated in here in '75. But I ran into his ass the other night on the ether, and he had this dirty, sick look on his face. He looked like Vladimir Putin right in the face. And I
Mm.
looked at him and I walked the other way. And I had a conversation with somebody he knows not too long ago, but he wasn't happy that I write about him and slam him and stuff. And I'm like, well, look, whatever. It's a family affair. But I always thought him and Enlil had something going on too. You know, a backdoor double deal. Like when our cousins, the Aldebarans, close to Pleiades, they decided it'd be a good idea to give Hitler all that technology, and
Mm.
we had to bring the Foo Fighters down here to counteract it. Yeah, people get into that. They like a fascist controller, even up in the higher dimensions. Some people,
Yeah.
and
It's what
those
we're
that's
programmed
about
for, bro.
10% of Pleiades, and now those people are shunned by us, though, dude. We don't. If you're looking to somebody else, or you look up to somebody else, yeah, forget it. Looking up to somebody else is okay, but if you think everything, oh well, they said it, it must be true. Well, they told me to go jump off a bridge, so I better.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck all that shit, dude.
I agree.
If I love you, I'll praise the shit out of you and go to hell for you and back, and yeah, man, talk you up and anything. But yeah, the second you say something cross-eyed, I'm gonna question you, man. Not in public, but I'll say, okay,
Yeah.
what's up with that? Or you know what I mean? I'm not just because of who you are, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go along with it, but because of who you are, I'll listen to you.
Yeah.
I'll let you explain it to me, and I'm open to changing my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand that, but for the normal population, somebody that's 16 foot tall and is flying a planet, the ship the size of Jupiter.
Nah, that's another story. Well, David, now, yeah, that's another. Well, yeah, that's a little bit of an intimidation thing, though. Yes, dude. Yeah, oh, God. Well, fuck, dude. Of course, man. Yeah, I'd be scared as fuck. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I'm talking like a person who's, yeah, that's a little much, dude. And I've seen 9 foot tall Pleiadian dudes before. These elementals that come down here that I've seen, the Pleiadian elementals that I've had, they have a guide with them usually, and he doesn't. He kind of is around. They're about 9 foot tall.
I-
Yeah,
I'm,
man, 7 to 9 foot.
I'm curious how they're
And
gonna handle me because on my arm I have tattooed that thing that looks like a watch that the Anunnaki have on their wrists. My wife says to me
um,
today, maybe I lived to be my death experience because I had this tattoo on my arm, which I thought was a
yeah,
really strange thing to say.
yeah, that is kind of odd, but well, they wouldn't, dude. They don't. That's so beneath them to think about it. They just don't judge like that, man. I mean, they're sarcastic and funny, but yeah, they know. They would already probably know if they had a question about it. I'll tell you how they know how to speak languages. This is funny. They read everything telepathic, but they do learn languages. So in case they were in an environment somewhere where they had to talk it, here's how they know if they've never heard your language before ever. All you need to do if they need to hear you in your mind think out about a half a sentence in their language they use because you're going to think it the way it sounds in your mind. If you're thinking something, they can hear half of that, and because of some vibration in there, Thusacia is from the Pink Plating Collective. She says that that's how they could learn another. If they'd never heard another language, they would just need about a half sentence in your mind of you saying it, and there's something in the vibe and everything, and then they know how to speak that language fluently.
Yes.
And she told me she knew about us too because they would get in dreams and she would look for humans like her all over the galaxy, and she knew about us and tuned into us, and it's really a trip, man. I'll tell you about those. I've had two channel at my 500 channelings with them. I've only had two in a dream state, and they were 2 nights in a row with a pink group and then a purple group, and then in trance I met every color of the rainbow all the way through except for an orange and a red team of Pleiades. I had two blue ones, a green one, pink one, a purple one, a clear white one, a yellow group. And they were all like on cool planets and shit. And the yellow ones were really like they were so nice to each other. It'd be sick if you heard it on Earth, but they were constantly complimenting each other and what a good job they were doing for any little thing. But it was sincere. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a sickening way. But if you heard people do it on Earth, you'd be like, dude, what the fuck? Shut up.
Mm.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's another story. I've talked about that on air too. Yeah, man. Okay, well, we'll talk next time then about the telekinesis thing, dude. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
appreciate you, Barry. It's fun, dude. I thank you for including me. I really appreciate it. It's good talking to you too.
it is good. I do all these because you know what I'm thinking, man. If I ever have grandkids, and man, all the friends do now. Well, two of them were my oldest son, Leland. He can't have kids. My daughter is a career woman, totally. I'd love her to. She won't ever have any kids. Okay. My middle son, Kyron and Courtney, have been together for years. Last I heard, yeah, I think they might be able. Might have been an issue, but I think they're going to be able to have kids, and I really hope so because I'm ready for one, man. And but someday, man, he'll listen to his crazy grandpa on the air, and I've got almost 1,000 hours of me talking on all the channels and shit about comedy, this,
Well,
socially. You can hear me
dude,
do self talk about
your
porn.
auction stuff, your fake auction, the newscast stuff, it just fucking cracks me up, dude. You should release
What
some of that stuff.
what's that? Which ones?
But you're doing like the fake radio program, like the country bumpkin stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh
you,
God, yeah, 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 yeah. That one I know people. You mean the one where I'm doing party line? You have to know
yeah,
a
it's
party.
amazing, Larry. It's amazing, dude. You should put that back out there, dude.
Okay, I do every so often in the Coos County groups, but you'd have to grow up somewhere where they had a show like that to get it. It's a morning for everybody out there who hears this. Okay, so we grew up in an area. Every fucking morning there was a show on called Party Line, and people. And David, listen, I'm going to tell you this, and you're going to back me up on this. If you were kidnapped, you didn't know where you were, and you heard that show, would you not have thought you were in the Ozarks?
Ozarks. I mean, Ozarks in where's Ozarks at again? Is that Pennsylvania?
No, like Arkansas or the South or somewhere,
Um,
Oklahoma. The way
you know
people,
what? It's purely I don't know, man. You
the way
got
people talk. But you know how people talk in there. Yeah, I got an old piece of shit truck. I got a
yeah.
broke dick.
It sounded like Goose Bay, 1978 to me, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it was, dude, in through the '80s and '90s, unfortunately too. But yeah, but I mean, they call in and well, I got me an old, and these people had never been to Arkansas. Oh, I got me an old comb here, missing a
Yeah,
couple.
dude, it's funny, dude. It's
Yeah, I mean,
brilliantly done, dude. Really
yeah,
brilliant.
oh, yeah. In fact, dude, the guy that owns the show, Michael Bryan, he's heard it and he laughed his fucking ass off, dude.
Dude,
The guy that owns the rights to that show now. Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it
man.
blew me away when I heard it, dude. I can't believe how good it was. It was funnier than shit, dude.
Well, it was Mr. X too. You got to give the X Man credit because the X played all the callers. We had 6 callers, and it got better as it went. At 20 minutes long, X took all the callers, and I was Buckaroo Bob, the host. Oh,
Yeah.
it was perfect chemistry. It was like Lennon and McCartney, and of course, dude, yeah, and it was great. But I mean,
Let's get together,
yeah,
us three, dude. Let's get together and maybe between New Year's Eve and Christmas. Let's get together, all three of us.
I could use it, man. That'd be great if we could,
I'll
bro.
come by
Yeah,
and pick you up.
good. Thanks, man. No, I'd love to, bro. That'd be great. We go do something and maybe fucking go hang out for the night, dude. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm gonna hold you to it, dude. I could use a night out, dude. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. All right, bro. Yeah. I mean, ain't nothing else going on for me. The kids are grown. My wife is, 2 years separated. We're not gonna get back together. No,
Sure.
dude. Here's the thing. Nobody wants a fucking thing to do with me, dude. Like if I was attached, dude, people all over the place, dude. Dude, now I can't get anybody to give me the goddamn time of day. But I love you, man. We're bros forever. So,
You gotta change your attitude. Demand it, and it will come, Larry.
oh, but yeah, I know, but yeah,
All right,
I'm not gonna do
rocking,
it. Yeah,
rocking,
all
Larry,
right, bro.
locking.
Hey, we're knocking out. Peace. All right, and when that's a wrap, and we're out. Okay.
I love you, brother.
All right, bro.
Wait,
All right.
are we on the air still?
Yeah, we're on the air, man. Hey, I'm glad you slowed down into the dimensions earlier, man. I mean, I'm gonna have to listen to that show we did 8 years ago. It was, yeah, the vibration is a little better adjusted. We're good. We're good.
Okay, love you, Larry.
Love you too, man. All right, peace.
Bye.
Uh,
How do I get out of here?
all right.
Eh.
You gotta get the X, dude.
I can show my face. Cut that out of the fucking the thing, all right?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Not your Instagram.
I don't know how to do this here.
Oh, dude, here, I'll just get it off, dude. I'll get it off, yeah.
I forgot to hang it up.
I I have this problem every time, dude. Okay, the X is up. Yeah, I found the X line. It was right there. Wait.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Mm.
You can't all right, here we go. Man, the blind leading the blind. I'm like, how annoying now. Fuck, man. Wow, dude. Look, now I'm wired for sound hearing him. Whoa. People, if anybody's still listening, he is not on crank or meth. That is, he's calmed down. Yeah, I think that he used to take something like a pharmaceutical meth, but for like his, his whatever he has. But man, whew, he's got a lot of good points, and he can get them out quick. Yeah, I don't know whether I'm tired or wired or what. Okay, I'm gonna hit end. I gotta hit end. Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. He was. He don't remember that shit. He's funny, man. Did we come in, show up at a party, and have 3 women hanging on him, waving at us and with an arrogant look, and I'd be like, "Fuck, dude, you guys gonna go hang out in the sun tomorrow, huh?" Well, I don't think there's gonna be room. And Mister Glamour Hog over there's got it all. All right. Yeah, the lady's pet and the men's regret and the midnight cowboy. There he goes. Ah, we all grow up though. Yeah, man. Hey, where all the chicks at? Look over there. They're with David. Yeah.